play in a pretty decent conference. Like, they play the same conference as they get all the quarterback a couple years ago. I forget where he was. Some big high school. Wow. They had a Duke there, they had another, like,
The whole world's been wondering, what is Calvin football? Today, men, we get to show them. We get to show them what Calvin football is all about. And today, they get to hear it. Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
For 148 years, Calvin University has been amongst the most prestigious Christian colleges and universities in America. Setting the standard both inside and outside the classroom, Calvin students have engaged the world with curiosity and conviction. For many of those decades in the past century, Calvin athletics has earned national recognition on a regular basis, including 11 national championships, 337 Michigan intercollegiate athletic titles, and a host of academic and athletic All-American student athletes. Today, the storied chronology of Calvin University and Calvin athletics adds a new chapter with the debut of intercollegiate football. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a historical day for Calvin University and, for that matter, sports in West Michigan. My name is Bob Sack, and it is my pleasure for me to share a Saturday afternoon with you of college football in Grand Rapids. Yes, that's right, Calvin University college football in Grand Rapids. For Calvin University, the journey to this afternoon has been years in the making, but it really started catapulting in October 2022 when the Board of Trustees approved the addition of football as a varsity sport. 3 months later, Trent Figg was introduced as the head football coach at a press conference, and by May 2023, the schedule for the first ever Calvin football season was released. Last August 2023, Calvin held its first ever official football practice with a group of nearly 50 players, most of which were freshmen recruited that year by Trent Figg. In September, just less than a year ago, Calvin held an intra-squad scrimmage on homecoming weekend right here at Grand Rapids Christian High School in front of more than 3,000 fans. And in the spring of 2024, Trent Figg brought in a new freshman class of 54 football players. And in July, season tickets for the first ever Calvin football season went on sale and sold out in less than 1 week. And later, single games have sold out the first 3 games, including the rivalry with Hope that sold out in less than 2 hours. All that excitement has led to this afternoon at Eagle Stadium on the campus of Grand Rapids Christian High School, where the Calvin Knights will host the Oberlin Yeomen in the first ever Calvin University football game. We are delighted you have joined us as Michigan Sports Radio, Talk 1230 WTKG, and WXSP TV bring you this memorable afternoon. Kickoff is 30 minutes away, but first, the Lake Michigan Credit Union pregame show rolls on with today's game analysis, plus conversations with 2 men very responsible for most aspects of today's event. It's Calvin Knights football on Michigan Sports Radio and Talk 1230 WTKG.
The best part of grad school would be the connections that you make, not only with your cohort, but with the professors as well.
I felt very supported, and I don't feel alone in the program.
I just really feel like each individual in the program gets a relationship with the professors in a different way that's meaningful to them and is more geared to them.
I'm a grad student at Calvin University. Yay! Okay.
I've wanted to be a teacher since I was in preschool. As a teacher, I know that I am called to not only make an impact on the students that I teach, but to help them come up with creative solutions to be change agents themselves. That Calvin has instilled in me to be an agent of renewal in this world. And how can they help be a problem solver? How can they creatively come up with solutions to better not only the space that they are involved in, but the space that others are involved in as well?
Welcome inside the pregame show, Coaches Show. Welcome back to Grand Rapids Christian High School, Eagle Stadium. Bob Sack ready to bring you the play-by-play for this historic afternoon, and a pleasure to be joined in the broadcast booth today by the quarterback, Tim Hiller, former Western Michigan University star quarterback and Indianapolis Colts quarterback as well. And this is Calvin University, and it's Calvin University football. How strange is that to hear as you walk through the parking lot today and saw all those tailgates and all the excitement for football?
It's a zoo out there. It is awesome, and this is a historic day. It's a historic day for the institution as a whole. It's a historic day for Calvin Athletics, and for Trent Figg and his staff, it's the culmination of over 2 years of work and hard work and recruiting. And for this first freshman class that's here today, it's a chance to finally lace it up against someone else in a real game situation. It's very exciting.
Tim, you've played in a lot of season-opening games in your career over the years, high school, college, the NFL, but this is different. These kids have played in front of big crowds in high school, but this is different. They are playing the first ever game for a university. What kind of expectations, what kind of burden does that add to these young men as they get ready to kick off here?
You know, there's only one group, there's only one class that will ever get to do this for the first time ever, and it's this core group. And I know that Coach Figg has really leaned into that mantra, that they get to lay the foundation truly for something special that will last for years and years to come. So it's a unique opportunity, but with the first game come a little bit of nerves, a little bit of working out the kinks, substitutions, getting your defense aligned properly, getting checks, getting communication. And then on top of it, the Calvin Knights have 88 freshmen or true freshmen on this team. They're probably the youngest team in all of America, and that adds an added layer of complexity, nerves, and different things. So it's going to be a good challenge for them today.
Well, the man responsible for recruiting all those players that Tim just alluded to is, in fact, Calvin head coach Trent Figg. He's a 2008 graduate of William Jewell College, where he was a 4-year member of the football program as a special teams ace and defensive back. He's had coaching stops, Tim, as the special teams coordinator and D coordinator at Division II schools. William Jewell, where he was a special teams coordinator also at Missouri State. Later, he spent 2 years as the offensive analyst at the University of Hawaii, and went from there on to coach at the University of Oregon in 2022 with Dan Lanning. So this is a football coach that has coached at every level. He likes to say he's coached at every time zone, and he's a guy who truly brings a lot of experience. I sat down with Trent to get his thoughts on launching Calvin football. Welcome inside the pregame show, Coaches Show, Planning for Success, presented by Skipper & Osterink Wealth Management. Here with Coach Trent Figg on a very special day for Calvin University. And Trent, December 2022, you were hired. It's been an incredible odyssey over the last 20 months. What's happened in the last 20 months that you've expected? And what's happened in the last 20 months that has surprised you as we embark on the opener today?
Yeah, when we started this program, obviously we didn't own a football. We didn't own a set of shoulder pads. I was the only football staff member. So how this has come together it's been a blessing, truly a ton of prayer. It's been a huge blessing how it's come together. To me, Calvin Knight Nation, the support that's been shown for this football program since day one has never wavered. And that's given us just so much faith and so much hope in what this is going to continue to grow to be every single day. So I'm so excited by the support that we've been shown through the entire process.
And no negative surprises?
Yeah, honestly, I interviewed 5 times for the job. I knew exactly what I was walking into whenever I took this job. And every step of the way, there's growing pains. When you start something brand new, there's going to be growing pains. But, we feel like we knew coming into it kind of exactly what those would be. And it's been, pretty much what that was.
You bring a wealth of coaching experience, most notably Division I at Oregon and Hawaii. Think back to all your stops in the various levels. What do you bring to the table here this fall that you take away from, most notably from some of those stops?
Yeah, I've been so fortunate in my career to have had stops on the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball, and as a special teams coordinator at the Division I level. So at Arizona State, I was on defense. At Oregon, I was on offense. Hawaii, I was on defense. Missouri State, I was the special teams coordinator. And I always questioned a little bit in the back of my head. It's like, man, why? You know, a jack of all trades, master of none. What does this look like? But the whole time, God was preparing me for this, for Calvin University, to start the football program. And it's not just me. I mean, this takes an entire village, starting with my family, and it goes to our athletic department, to this entire Calvin Knight nation to get this program started. I get to be the one that stands here today and leads the team out there onto the field. But at the end of the day, man, this has been a village. This has been a whole group effort.
Speaking of that village, you have assembled and handpicked outstanding coaches, over 100 football players, support staff. That's not by accident.
No.
Each one of those individuals are there. What's been the key criteria that you've looked for in every one of those acquisitions?
Yep, so we talk in our program all the time about building champions for life. We want our players to be champions on the field, in the classroom, in the community, and champions of their faith. So as I've looked at every staff member, I look at, is this person a champion in all 4 of those areas? We want our coaches to be teachers. We want them to be champions, and we want them to do whatever it takes to help our young men be successful for their entire lives. And I'll be honest with you, in our staff room, every single day since this program has started, we have prayed that God would bring the right people. It's not by chance that there's 112 kids here ready to play, that there's 10 staff members, that there's an entire athletic department wrapped around this program, because we've prayed for it. And honestly, that's the only way it's happened.
Those guys went through an exhaustive fall camp, a camp that you came into with only really the knowledge of one starter.
Yeah.
How did you develop that starting unit that we'll see this afternoon? And what group or what position area was the most pleasant surprise to you?
Yeah, for sure. So, boy, it's a lot of work to bring 2 classes together to make one team. And we were very honest with our players from the start that this was a tall task. And this is what it looks like to bring 60 guys from last year and 60 this year and bring them together to be one tribe, right? And that's what we've talked about. Are we a team or are we a tribe, right? A tribe will die for each other. And these guys have really bought into that. So across the board, I'm very pleased with where our staff and our players are at. As we prepare for this game today, I'm very pleased. As I look at our defensive line, that was a group coming into fall camp that I was concerned about our depth. If you ask me today what group is playing the most inspired at practice throughout the course of fall camp, I would say it's our defensive line. We've had some kids really step up there, and they're playing really hard, and they're really inspired.
For those that have gotten to know Trent Figg in West Michigan, they know that you are meticulous in your planning. You're systematic in your details. But football's a game of emotion. When you take that field this afternoon, and 20 months of work culminate, what are going to be the emotions going through your mind?
So in our program, we have 4 core DNA traits: connection, grit, intention, and joy. And to me, game day is joy. It's all focused on that last one. Man, this is a celebration of the last 20 months of what we've been able to do. And it's the whole village, right? It's a celebration of our players. In their career, they have 40 guaranteed games. That's it. And today's one of them. So today's a celebration, man. I want to run out onto the field and just take a second and just look. And I mean, wow, where have we come in 20 months? We came from no footballs to a football game.
Oberlin College is the opponent today.
Yeah.
As we turn our attention to this game, a team that has struggled in the past as well.
Yep.
They're excited. You're excited. Other than a victory today, what's the greatest outcome you'll see this afternoon?
Yeah, I want to see our players play. We want to be the most physical team on the field. We're going to play with a passion. We're going to play with physicality, and we're going to play as a tribe. We're going to play together as a group of young men. We've got each other's backs. No matter what happens today, we've got each other's backs. When you look at Oberlin, they've got 16 seniors, 13 returning starters. It's year 2 for their program, and they're excited to play today.
Coach Trent Figg, it has been a ride, and it's just beginning. Good luck this afternoon. Good luck with the rest of the season, and thanks for all your help.
Thanks so much. Go Knights.
Join the next generation of global business leaders at Calvin University School of Business, offering 8 undergraduate majors and 2 master's degrees, and exceptional faculty with real-world experience who will partner with you and guide you along the way, and opportunities to participate in internships, study abroad programs, and hands-on learning experiences. This is Calvin University School of Business. Your future begins here.
Where will the next revolutionary idea come from? That next breakthrough in scientific research? At Calvin University, you can dream bigger, think deeper, aim higher. Our world-class faculty push students to keep asking hard questions and never settle for the status quo. Become part of a university that challenges students to go beyond as Christ's agents of renewal in the world. Calvin University, go beyond.
Welcome back to Grand Rapids Christian High School. Bob Sack alongside Tim Hiller as we count down to kickoff on the Lake Michigan Credit Union pregame show. This journey to start a football program from scratch has been a monumental task. For more on that, we bring in the third member of our team today, Matt Kosinski. He's down on the field with a very special guest who has been at the core of all that's happened to bring Calvin football to fruition. Matt?
Where will the next revolutionary...
Thanks, Bob. I'm joined by Director of Athletics, Jim Timmer, who's been waiting a long time for this day. Look around, Jim. This is pretty exciting. Maroon everywhere, maroon out. 148-year history of Calvin. What is it like to be in this moment right now?
Well, I'll be honest with you, man, it's a little emotional. You know, we've done a lot of big things at Calvin and Calvin University as a community, as a university, but this is about as big as we've done in athletics. So to see where we were 2 years ago and to be here now today has been really a really great journey with a lot of really close friends. So it's been great.
Even a marching band. 2 weeks ago, we didn't have one of these.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Stevens doing a great job. Knight Nation having a great time. This is what it's all about.
You've been athletic director for almost 20 years. About half of Calvin sports didn't really exist before you were at Calvin. But what is it about football that just makes this a little bit different for the institution?
Well, you know, honestly, it's the magnitude, right? It's just bigger. It's a bigger footprint. So we've added lacrosse and indoor track and all those really, really fine sports. But the community interest, the magnitude of the number of athletes and what it takes to put on a production like this, I think makes football very unique. And it's a unique part of American culture, and now Calvin's a part of that.
Speaking of that, 112 student athletes. 2 years ago, Calvin didn't own a football. They put together a 112-man roster. What type of support does that take to get this thing built in 20 months?
Well, and like I said before, it's everyone. Board of trustees, alumni. You know, the alumni are calling in, hey, we got this kid in our area who wants to play. A lot of the credit goes to Trent for building the infrastructure to get all those kids here. But, you know, we don't get those kids here if it's not the institution that we think Calvin University is. You know, I think people are attracted to our mission. They're attracted to our success in athletics and, of course, our fine faculty.
Right before the game, we heard Kirk Cousins on the big board, right?
Yep.
Derek Carr sending messages in. Dan Lanning from the University of Oregon. What is it like to have the entire country pulling for Calvin on this day?
Well, I hope they are. I mean, I'm sure there's some Oberlin fans out there, but, you know, I think Trent's connection and Trent's magnetic personality draws people in. And again, I think it's part of the Calvin community. I think people are attracted to what we're trying to do. It's not easy today, but we love the support.
One more question. Are you ready for some football?
I am. Thanks, Matt.
Awesome. We are too. And we're going to send it back to you in the booth, Bob.
Thank you, Matt. It has been an absolute delight, Tim Hiller, to watch Jim Timmer over these last few weeks. He is truly like a kid in a candy store. And part of the excitement for him has been watching Trent Figg build this team, though. Jim's an athletic guy from years gone by. He knows what's involved in a team and the formation of it. And he's got a chance to look at this Calvin team. What are the key principles that you want to see, that you know Trent wants to see happen today in this season?
You know, mistake-free football is an awfully hard thing to do, and especially with a young team. But one of the storylines today that we're going to start with is the offensive line. You know, Trent, in his pregame interview we just saw with you, talked about physicality, that he wants to set a tone and that he wants to leave every opponent this season, Oberlin today, with a taste in their mouth that we just played Calvin, win, lose, or draw, that they came out, they hit us in the mouth, they played hard for 4 quarters, and that they really set a tone. And so the difficulty with that with a freshman group is there's a lot of thinking involved. It moves a little bit faster. Oberlin has a small roster, and so we know that Trent and his offensive coordinator want to play with tempo today and move fast, but that also can come with some confusion and communication. And so if you look across the offensive line for Calvin, it's a shuffled group. We've got a couple injuries today, but all freshmen and redshirt freshmen. And so I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm excited how they play together, and communication will be critical for them up front.
You know, that offensive line is a big story. This team had developed through fall camp with a fivesome in that offensive line that was fairly well set. And just this week, a couple of, well, 3 key injuries have changed that starting lineup. There's an old adage, Tim, really in football, that as a freshman, the further you are away from the football, the easier it is to play soon. Now, the reverse of that, of course, is if you're on the offensive line, it's more difficult. What makes that offensive line so challenging, and why does that change this late in the game affect the Knights?
Well, everything starts with the center and the quarterback's relationship with the center and the center's ability to call out the Mike linebacker and to set the protection and to make adjustments. That guy is really the leader of communication. And with Andrew Berg's injury and him being out, Mike Liggett sliding into the center spot, a lot of eyes on him today. He's going to be responsible for making those calls, for working with Chase Bradman to call out the defense and to make sure that they're in the right run plays, working to the right linebackers. And so, you know, today Mike is going to have an important role, and it's going to be interesting to see how he steps up.
You mentioned Chase Bradman. He will be under center. He is a graduate transfer from Indiana Wesleyan on a team that has virtually its entire roster as freshmen and redshirt freshmen. Bradman is the exception. He is a graduate of South Christian High School here nearby, played on this field many times over his high school career, then went to Indiana Wesleyan, which is really interesting because that's a fairly new program in college football. So he had a chance to see what it's like to build that program. How well does Chase Bradman, because of his skill set, fit for a startup program like Calvin has?
I think he fits as well as he can. He's back home. He's a graduate transfer, and he's getting his first chance to, quote, be the guy. I had a chance this week. Jordan Langs, the former head coach at Indiana Wesleyan, is a good friend, and we've known his family for some time. Had a chance to trade texts with him. He said, you know, Chase is a gunslinger. He plays loose. He throws the ball and spins it really well, and he's a poised kid. And so I think you're going to see him rise to the moment and be ready to go. I think the other thing that he's going to bring is a calming presence, communication on the sideline with those wide receivers, addressing needs, adjustments, things that they have to do, and just saying, hey guys, let's have some fun. And he's that type of kid, and I'm excited to see his leadership play out today and him to get an opportunity as a senior to lead an offense.
Trent Figg very delighted with the fact that Bradman has been the instrument to build into the new quarterbacks too. There's a couple of really good freshman quarterbacks on this roster. Drake Irwin, Hayden Slagers. We may see those two as well. Luca Pryor is also one of the in the quarterback room who quarterbacked the team last year through year 0. But Figg really appreciates what Bradman has brought to the table. Again, you've been through the quarterback room at different levels. How critical is it to have that experienced QB1 mentoring you as you learn?
Well, I've been in that role. My 5th year at Western Michigan University in 2009, we had a lot of guys graduate. I redshirted, so I was there a 5th year, and I was the old man in the locker room. But I knew that my role and God's purpose for that timing was to be a mentor to those younger guys. And so we had what we called football school in the summer. We had the playbook out. We were teaching all our junior college transfers, all our freshmen that were incoming, the offense, the nuances of it, and getting them ready. And Chase has the opportunity to be that for these guys. He's been in these situations. He's a little bit battle-tested, and it's a great opportunity for him to seize.
Now, you meshed the issues we just talked about, the offensive line with the new quarterback, and why we think Bradman fits so well for that. And one of the reasons is Chase is very mobile. He's a dual threat guy. He likes to throw on the run. We'll see him roll out a lot today. We'll see him tuck it and go at times. He fits this scenario because of that young, inexperienced offensive line. The quarterback's going to have to move in the pocket a little bit. That's a trait he brings to the table, but that sets up a different type of offense or an offensive scheme, doesn't it?
It does. When you can ad lib, plays break down on the defense. Zone coverage is lost, eyes get in the backfield, and you might get a big one over the top. And with a group of young receivers that know how to play, I think they're going to do some big things after the play, but his ability to keep plays alive, escape, maybe run for a first down on 3rd and short, those opportunities are going to sustain drives, and that's what Calvin needs to do today, to keep their defense off the field and keep those guys fresh and ready to go.
For those watching on television, you see Chase Bradman. He's number 4, KJ Hart number 5, Paul Vanderploeg 0. The 3 captains coming out for the coin toss in a matter of minutes as we count you down to kickoff here on this inaugural and historical day of football in West Michigan. we talked a lot about the offense. The defense is an area that Trent Figg's very excited about. This is a team, this is a unit that does not have any injury issues. They're very healthy coming into this opener. He likes his corner. Three levels. If there's one thing that, back to the physicality that Trent talked about, what will you look for today amongst those defensive levels, Tim, that shows you Calvin's playing with that physical edge Trent desires?
Yeah, I think it's 11 guys at the football. You know, we used to do a drill back in the day called two whistle, and when you were to freeze the camera frame of that practice or game footage, you wanted to see 11 guys around the ball swarming. And so I'm anxious to see movement at the line of scrimmage. I'm also anxious to see how they run to the football and finish plays. That effort takes no talent, and it doesn't matter if you're a senior or a freshman, you can run to the football. I'm excited about Isaiah Hill. He's a guy that Trent talked about before the game, number 42 at defensive end, said he's one of our best threats to get home to the quarterback. And if they can get pressure on Drew Nye, who's in his second year in the Oberlin offense, he's a good player, that pressure is going to be critical. And so I'm watching him today to see if he can get off the edge.
The other player we haven't talked about yet, because he covers both sides of the field, that's Hunter Hogan, number 7 in maroon today. He will play potentially 100 to 120 plays as
amazing.
A two-way guy.
So rare.
Slot back for a receiver and what they call the night position as a secondary guy. So Hunter Hogan, a guy to watch as well today.
Absolutely. Trent told us he might have 12 to 15 tackles, plus they're going to get him the ball in a plethora of ways. I can't wait to watch. I feel like we're going to be watching the Colorado Buffaloes a little bit with having a two-way specialist. He is going to be everywhere on the field. I'm eager to see his conditioning, his talent. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Man, look for him to blitz a lot as well on the defensive side. All right, that concludes the Lake Michigan Credit Union pregame show. Kickoff just moments away. You are watching Calvin Knights football on MichiganSportsRadio.com, listening on WTKG 1230.
Mission statement of our program is building champions for life. And I truly mean that when I say that. To me, there's two types of programs. There's transactional and there's transformational. And we are building a transformational football program here because we want our young men to leave prepared for the rest of their lives. And so when we talk about being champions, we talk about 4 different areas: in the classroom, in the community, on the field, and then champions of our faith. And all 4 pieces are so important to what we're doing.
At Calvin University, you can dream bigger, think deeper, aim higher. World-class faculty empower students to go beyond what they ever thought possible as Christ's agents of renewal in the world. Calvin University. Go beyond.
I love working downtown Grand Rapids, being able to go to class and then come here and do work where the theory that I learned in the classroom really did apply.
I think the Calvin interns, they have this well-balanced background, right? I also think that Calvin does a really nice job preparing them in communication.
I think the Calvin Network is phenomenal, and that is a huge help of making me feel comfortable knowing that my education is preparing me super well for the rest of my life. So knowing that I can see people being successful in their lives who went through the same educational system as me is very encouraging.
The whole world's been wondering, what is Calvin football? Today, men, we get to show them. We get to show them what Calvin football is all about. And today, they get to hear it. Champions on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon, and welcome to a very special day in the history of West Michigan sports and Calvin University. It's the first ever collegiate football game for the 148-year-old Calvin University. My name is Bob Sack. I'll have all the play-by-play for you tonight. It's a pleasure to be joined by our color analyst, Tim Hiller, former Western Michigan University and NFL quarterback. And the third member of our crew joining us shortly, Matt Kaczynski, and he'll be standing by with Trent Figg momentarily. Today, the opponent for the Calvin Knights is the Oberlin Yeomen. They finished the 2023 season with a 1-9 record. Their lone win coming in week 2 against Concordia University of Chicago. They're led by coach John Pont in his second season, and on offense by quarterback Drew Nye. It's frankly struggled over the last few years. Just 2 wins in the last 3 years. They have had a difficulty scoring. Their average score has been in the past 49 to 10. So it's a team that has struggled. they're just excited about this game as Calvin is, because they see this expansion, quote, expansion franchise,
Yes.
so to speak. They think they can get a win today.
It's a reset button game for sure. They're definitely trying to lay a foundation. John Pont has a vision for the program. He's an offensive line guy. He too believes in physicality, and he's got a good quarterback. You know, the second year in an offense, there's a level of comfort when you're at the helm that you simply don't have in that first season. And so they're eager to build upon the foundation they laid last year, and they have an opportunity against a young team. They are a small roster. However, they have juniors and seniors. They have guys that have done this many times, and it's going to be a good challenge for the Knights.
And you like their quarterback.
I do. I like Drew Nye. I watched him throw. He's a 6'2" kid. He's tall. He's got good touch on the football. He looked accurate in warm-ups, and here they come. I'm excited, but it is a good challenge for the Calvin defense.
Listen to the crowd. For the first time in history of the school, the Calvin Knights football team takes the field. Let's go downstairs where, again, the third member of our crew, Matt Kaczynski, is standing by with the head coach, Trent Figg.
Hey, Bob, with Coach Trent Figg. Trent, 20 months ago, you had nobody on your roster, no football. What's it like right now in this atmosphere?
Man, I'll tell you what, we're so blessed, man. I was in there with those guys. God is so good. And these Knights are going to show the world what we're all about today. Let's go to work.
Coach, good luck. All right, Bob, see the emotion in Trent's voice. What an amazing moment. Back up to you in the booth.
Folks, if you didn't know Trent Figg before, what you saw there in those last 30 seconds is who he is. He is a passionate individual about his faith, about his family, and about football in that order, Tim Hiller. And we saw it there in that emotion.
You know, in this day and age, being a college football coach is such a difficult job. You think of NIL, you think of the transfer portal, and to move your family here from across the country and to do nothing but recruit and practice for 2 years to get to this moment, it is just the expression of all that time and effort that you just saw, and truly happy for Coach Figg.
I've often said over the last few days to people, this guy checks all the boxes.
He does.
And if he can scheme and win games like he does everything else off the field, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this program develop over the years. Down on the field, you see Coach Figg, last-minute instructions. And here come the Knights to take the field for the kickoff.
You know, one of the things that's a tone-setting play when you bring the kickoff and have that first series is the tone that your defense sets on first down. Getting it lined up properly, doing the basics well against the veteran quarterback like Drew Nye. These first 3 snaps are going to be really important.
Calvin won the toss. They will defer to the second half. Evan Raymond will kick it off for the Knights. For the first kickoff ever, the redshirt freshman from Coopersville. He's got a good leg, and this afternoon he's got a great breeze behind us. A beautiful day today. Temperature low 60s. Storm Team 8 weather forecast is for a near perfect day of football, but a heavy breeze, about 15 to 20 miles behind Evan Raymond. Standing back at the 10-yard line for Oberlin is Dylan Marshall. To his right, Greg Lane. And Calvin University football is underway. Raymond booms a high kickoff through the end zone, late to let it fly. And a touchback on the opening kick. 1st and 10 for the Oberlin offense. Let's set that offense again. As Tim mentioned earlier, the quarterback is Drew Nye. He's a 6'2", 197-pound junior. Dual threat quarterback, threw for 1,600 yards last year and 11 touchdowns. Also rushed for about 6 yards a carry, Tim. When you take off the quarterback sacks, it's much less, but he is a mobile quarterback.
He is. He can keep plays alive, and he does a nice job from what I've seen, keeping his eyes down the field, looking for a big play.
He'll operate out of the pistol with Josh Woznicki as the runner behind him. Quick drop. Nice, swings it out to Woznicki in the left flat. Right there to stick him quickly is Colin Diekman, part of that linebacking core.
Really nice job by Diekman here. Stays true to his zone. Easy drop back. sees the reaction to the flat and runs the football well. Great rally by the Calvin defense on 1st and 10.
Lost 4 on that swing pass. 2nd down and 14 at the 21. Trent Figg says Diekman's probably the rangiest of his linebacking crew. Gets from sideline to sideline as quick as anybody. Greg Lane now checks into the game at the running back spot behind Nye in the pistol. He'll take the handoff, try to bounce it to the outside. Nowhere to go. He is swallowed up for another loss. It was Trevor Martin's first to get him behind the line. And how about that? 2 defensive plays, and now they have a chance for a 3 and out in the first series of Calvin football.
And this is a really aggressive defensive call. You see all 11 players within 7 yards of the line.
Third down and 16 for the Yeomen. Nye back to throw, looks right, slings it sideline, knocked away at the last minute on a fine defensive play, deflected by Carson Schnurstein into the game, who dropped back from his linebacker spot and was able to deflect the ball away from Jordan Fishback. And how about that? On the first series, 3 and out for the Knight defense.
You really can't ask for a better start. That's a pretty good ball there by Drew Nye, right over the top to Jordan Fishback on the sideline. Calvin's in a nickel defense, 5 defensive backs, playing the prevent, and a great first series, 3 and out.
Josh Lawson, the defensive coordinator, has to love that. Back to kick for Oberlin is Colton Dannell. His punt against that strong breeze will float to the 48 and then trickle out of bounds at the 50-yard line. And the Knights offense goes to work, but first we get on to Matt Kosinski. He's standing there with a special guest.
Hey, thanks, Bob. I'm just going to move this. We're right here in the stands with Steve Suddeth, who's the marching band director. What was it, 4 weeks ago? You didn't even live in Grand Rapids, and now look at the band behind you.
Yeah, it's been very big honor here. Only 2 weeks of rehearsals, and they're sounding fabulous, getting ready for our first home game.
What is it like building a band in 2 weeks?
Rush, 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 rush. Not enough time, not enough time, not enough time. Lots of enthusiasm, lots of fun.
And what can we expect later this season?
We're going to be on the field to do some pre-games and do some halftime numbers out there to help support our team, also visually, and be able to do some things like a marching band will do.
Awesome. Back to you, Bob.
From midfield on 1st and 10, play action for Chase Bradman. Looking deep that time for Mishmer-Heisman, but the pocket collapsed, and he was snowed under for a 5-yard loss on the first play.
Really an aggressive call. I think, Trent Figg and his offensive coordinator feeling a sense of let's take a shot, let's be aggressive, looking for Mishmer-Heisman deep. Just wasn't there, and not a bad choice by Bradman.
In motion, the give is to Hunter Hogan on the jet sweep. He'll try to get to the edge, can't do it. Stacked up immediately there. First to...
Kind of the first example, Bob, that we see there of getting a touch, right? We want to see lots of touches today from number 7, Hunter Hogan, and a little fly jet sweep into the boundary to try to get him the ball.
Cameron Burke drove him out of bounds for a gain of just 1. So it is 3rd down and 14 for Bradman. His running back to his right is Jackson Cook, the freshman from Whitehall. Bradman, play action again. Here comes the Russ. He gets rid of it over the middle. It's almost picked off. Intended for Seth Ritzma. Deflected away at the last minute. And Calvin will be forced to punt as they go 3 and out.
Good call by the Oberlin defense, bringing pressure. You want to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands early on 3rd and long, and that's exactly what they did. A little bit of a misprotection there. Cook stepped across, didn't pick up the blitzing backer. So a couple cleanups on that first drive, but the beauty of it is they can play the field position game here, pin Oberlin deep.
Big win behind Logan Knapp, standing back at his 31. Low snap, gets it away and sends a beautiful spiral down to Burke at the 9. He'll call for a fair catch, and that's where Oberlin will start 1st and 10. Time to give you the Mercantile Bank starting defensive line for Calvin. They'll rotate 5 or 6 guys, but the starters are Isaiah Hill, number 42, 6'1", 220-pound defensive lineman from Dowagiac. Austin Fennick is the nose guard, number 55. He's a 6'1", 285-pounder from Forest Hills Eastern. Jaden Lewis will be at right tackle, number 99, and Braylon Cox at defensive end, 6'3", 240 from East Kentwood. That's your Mercantile Bank starting front 4, which now goes to a 3-man look on 1st down with 12:23 to go here in the first quarter. Both teams exchanging punts on their first series. Oberlin gets it for the 2nd time, starting at their 9-yard line. On first down, they give it to Woznicki. Plows over the right side for a couple.
What we're seeing early from Oberlin is they're dictating a lot of their calls by numbers in the box. There they had a 5-man set, meaning no tight end, 5 offensive linemen, and Calvin only had 5 in the box. So you run the football. It's a 0 scheme. It'll be interesting to see what Calvin does with this 3-man front throughout the game.
2nd and 8 from the 11 for Nye. Again, Woznicki behind him.
Notice Hunter Hogan, for those watching online, hanging in the defensive backfield near the line of scrimmage. He's kind of a robber player spying the quarterback.
Greg Lane, their top runner, slot to the left. Give us to Woznicki again. Nowhere to go as he is stonewalled right at the line of scrimmage. A host of Knights in on that tackle. First to hit him was Jaden Lewis.
Really nice penetration from Jaden Lewis. He's a big kid, 240 pounds. He's a redshirt freshman, part of the first class in here, and just got great penetration in the A-gap. Now a good 3rd and 10 situation for the Calvin defense.
Yeoman sent 3 to the left, 1 to the right, the short side of the field for Nye.
Again, we see the 3-man front here. No pressure coming, but some man coverage in the back end from Calvin. And here comes a blitz.
Nye to throw out of his own end zone, scrambles out, now flips it to an open receiver at the and another 3 and out for the Calvin defense. Oberlin will kick it away again. That secondary for Calvin doing a nice job. The corners, by the way, are Jair Nolan and Dylan DeHoop. The safeties, Paul Vanderplug and Caden Kolanowski.
A little bit of a dangerous play there. Dylan DeHoop coming up to play the run. Nye wisely saw that, threw it over his head, but just couldn't complete the ball right on the sideline. Got to be careful there. If you're in man coverage, you have no help over the top.
Standing in his own end zone to boot it away is Colton Daniel against that strong wind. The wind holds it up at the 30, and the Knights will have great field position here at the 33-yard line. 1st and 10 after the punt leaves them a very short field.
Absolutely. Ball on the 32-yard line, left hash. If you're listening on the radio, going left to right on your dial, and Ben Dixon is probably going to dial up a couple shots here that you really need to get some points, and it's a great way to get ahead on the scoreboard. Couldn't ask for better field position.
10:41 to go here in the first quarter. No score. It's been a defensive struggle in this first ever football game for Calvin University. They'll have it 1st and 10 now in Oberlin territory at the 33. Bradman has Jackson Cook to his left, sends Hogan in motion. He'll give it to Jackson. He probes the right side, hit immediately, but powers his way with a good second effort for a gain of a couple. Brandon Hall, their fine inside linebacker, was first to meet him, but that was all Jackson Cook.
We heard a lot about Brandon Hall this week, didn't we? He was one of the guys that Trent Figg called out by name multiple times. He's a veteran at the will backer. Really a strong player that anchors this Oberlin defense.
2nd down and 8 for Chase Bradman. He turns, hands off to Cook again. He carries tacklers with him. Hall chopped him down at the 26 with help from Hunter Green.
And here's that tempo we talked about earlier this week with Trent Figg. He said, we're going to play with some tempo. We have a young offensive line, some shuffling. We're going to get right to the line of scrimmage, and here you see that fast pace.
3rd down and 5 from the 27. Bradman on a run pass option, flips it left flat. That was well diagnosed, intended for Hogan right there. Coming up to make the play was Kingston Askernies, the freshman for Oberlin. 4th down and 5, and it looks like Trent Figg's going for it here on the first 4th down for the Knights.
As he should. 4th and 4 on the 30-yard line going in. You've got to be the aggressor here. I like the call.
Mishmerheisen and Hogan split to the right. Richmond to the left. Cook the running back as Bradman turns to the sideline to get the signal, and Trent Figg wants a timeout.
Yeah, I like it. A little freeze call there. Didn't send in a play, just hustle to the line of scrimmage, see what you get, and then talk it over. Big 4th and 4 coming up.
Good time to tell you that enrollment at Cornerstone University continues. Enrollment at Calvin University continues to climb. For the 2nd straight year, Calvin is experiencing a double-digit percentage uptick in its first-year class. The 1,200 new students represent undergraduate and graduate learners from dozens of states and 46 countries around the world. Discover why Calvin is in demand. Schedule a visit at calvin.edu/visit. Around the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association today is brought to you by N.A. Wasinski of West Michigan, West Michigan's largest independently owned commercial real estate firm. Every team in the league is home today with afternoon contests, including Rochester at Olivet, Wisconsin River Falls at Elmont, Elmhurst at Adrian. Albion hosts Wisconsin Stevens Point. Hope entertains Loris. Austin's at Kalamazoo, and Christopher Newport travels to Trine. That's the MIAA, brought to you by N.A. Wasinski of West Michigan. Knights will go for a field goal here. Bradman to hold on the attempt from Sal Ruffino. The spot at the 34. It's on its way. It's long enough, and it is just sliding to the left. Sal Ruffino with a good look from 44 with that wind, and it's about the range, Tim.
Yeah, this week, Trent, he told us, about 40 to 42 is Sal Ruffino's range, and we had a wind at the back. I don't mind the call. Give him a shot. A little bit of adrenaline early in the game. It's all about field position right now. So despite the miss, which is disappointing, only the ball on the 28-yard line, your defense is set up well for success. In these back-and-forth battles, Bob, when you kind of get the defenses going back and forth, who's going to make the first mistake? That's really what we're watching. And a key turnover, a key play, a penalty. It's a big series.
Knights show blitz. Here they come. They give us to Greg Lane. Wiggles his way behind the left tackle, maybe a yard.
Really nice downhill play by the linebacker, Charlie Garbowski, number 10. Flies downhill, has good vision, makes a great play behind the line of scrimmage. We said with Trent in our discussion this week, we'd see 5 to 6 different linebackers rotating through, and we're getting a different look at that crew right now.
Diekman's on the outside right, Garbowski in the middle. On 2nd and 9, play action. Nye is flushed out. Garbowski giving chase to him. He lost it out of bounds, incomplete. And so far, Tim Hiller, this Calvin defense has been absolutely stout.
One of the things that we're seeing here, we talked a lot in the pregame about two-way player number 7, Hunter Hogan, and he's hanging out as what we call a robber player. They call it the Knight, so he's hanging in the middle of the field, and his sole job on a passing down is Drew Nye. He's spying that backfield, knows he's versatile, and he's doing a great job of shutting down any scramble.
Illegal procedure. Let's set the rest of that Calvin defense for you. And the corners are Dylan DeHoop, 6'1", 195-pound freshman. He's number 2. Jair Nolan is number 1. He is a grad transfer from Greenville. Came over with his defensive backs coach, Coach Lamar. And safeties are Paul Vanderplug. He's 0. Hunter Hogan in there is at that Knight position, and Caden Kolanowski, the free safety as well.
Knights have a 3-man front here. They'll drop 8 into coverage. All about preventing a long 3rd down conversion.
Nye out of the gun, sets up the screen to Woznicki. He's corralled quickly at the 31. First to hit him was Garbowski with a strong series there. Another 4th down.
I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from the junior transfer, Paul Vanderplug. He is really flying to the football. He's been in about 3 tackles so far, coming downhill, and was right there to shut down the screen along with the linebacker core.
Colton Donnell back to kick. Minahan to receive.
Daniels punt rolls to a stop at the 44, and that's where it'll be 1st and 10 for Calvin. Today's contest began with the Mercantile Bank kickoff, including the game ball delivered by Calvin student Josh Smith, a freshman from Detroit majoring in religion. Mercantile Bank offering a wide range of personal account options to meet your unique needs. That's Calvin's starting kickoff today, presented by Mercantile Bank.
What you got to feel good about if you're Trent Figg is winning the field position game right now. They've had great field position all 3 drives. Need to get Chase Bradman in a rhythm here.
Bradman quick out, complete to Mishmer-Heisman, 49. Hit immediately by Ari Smith. That's the first completion by Chase Bradman. Quick out.
It is, and a really sure-handed catch by Mitch Merheisen with a corner breathing down his neck. This is an RPO, so Chase Bradman has his eyes on the backside linebacker. If he stays in the box, he throws the backside hitch, and a really nice decision in delivery.
Jude Clunder in the game, split out as a slot left. Hand out A handoff off tackle on the left side to Harden. Jair Harden now in the game at running back. Trent Figg thought he would play 3 running backs. Jackson Cook, Ronan Russell Dixon, and Jair Harden. He's a 5'7", 200-pound grad student from Davenport. 3rd down and 4 at the 48. Knights have been in Oberlin territory most of this first quarter, but just have not been able to get to the red zone and punch one in. Missed a field goal a bit earlier. Harden's got it again. He's got room up the middle and a 1st down. That is our first down for Calvin Knights football. Jair Harden finding a seam and squirming his way to the 40, and that sends this big crowd into a tizzy here as the Knights move the chains for the first time.
And now you see tempo from offensive coordinator Ben Dixon. Let's get some momentum right back up on the line of scrimmage.
Harden again. This time he's hit right at the line of scrimmage.
One of the things that we heard in the pregame this week is a tendency to want to commit to the inside zone. And so these last 2 plays have both been inside zone looks by the Calvin Knights, trying to get some movement up front. It's a simple concept, but it allows them to get up on linebackers.
Hunter Green in on the last tackle. Bradman will roll to his left here on 2nd and 10. Finds an open receiver. That's Klunder along the left sideline. He's got a 1st down, near 1st down. Actually stepped out of bounds at the 32. That's what we talked earlier, Tim, about getting Chase Bradman out of the pocket and room to throw.
He really throws well on the run. And talking to Jordan Langs, his former coach at Indiana Wesleyan, said he's really a gunslinger. He can get out on the edge. He runs and turns his shoulders well downhill when he's throwing on the run, especially to his left, which is hard to do.
Big 3rd and 2. Harden's got the handoff from Bradman and then is tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. Great defensive play there by Brandon Hall again, knifing through to drop him for a 3-yard loss, and that sets up 4th and 5. And
this is obvious 4-down territory, Bob. You're out of kicking range, but you're winning the field position game. Even a 5-yard gain, you come up a yard short. It's as good as a punt here.
2 receivers to the right side, the wide side of the field for Chase Bradman. Here comes Hall on the blitz. They pick him up. Bradman has time. Now he's hit as he throws, and the ball flutters incomplete. Boy, Brandon Hall's all he has been hyped to be, Tim. He has wreaked havoc in this Calvin backfield here in the early going.
He's off to a great start. This stunt is called what we call a cross dog. So you've got 2 inside linebackers creating almost like a letter X, one coming before the other. And the reason you do that is to occupy the center, and the second blitzer can peel right off his back hip. And that's exactly what happened. They got Brandon Hall on a linebacker on a running back, and that's a matchup you want all day as a defensive coordinator. He made it really difficult, got a piece of the football.
So a turnover on downs gives it back to Oberlin. This is their best starting point of the first half. These teams have essentially traded punts, although Calvin did miss a 44-yard field goal attempt on their last possession. 3-man front shown by the Knights on 1st and 10 from the 35. Knight, time to throw. KJ Harp on the rush. That'll draw a holding penalty. Knight scrambles up the middle, but it's coming back. Terrific pursuit by KJ Harp, the big offensive lineman.
Exactly what you'd expect from one of the captains of your football team. Really did a nice job. Little swim move to the left. He gets his shoulders past the center. Almost had no choice but to hold.
Number 66, 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay 1st down.
I think what that last call demonstrates, though, Bob, is something we're going to continue to watch is Drew Nye's ability to keep the pocket alive. Did a really nice job escaping. 9-yard gain. Calvin's going to keep getting pressure on him throughout the rest of the first half here. Really aggressive in the back end as well. I'm watching Jair Nolan a lot at corner. He is man-to-man on an island consistently throughout this first quarter.
1st and 20, whistle again, and let's see if they'll get KJ Harp for crossing the neutral zone.
Offside, defense, number 5, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
So right now that defensive line has Harp in the middle. Number 5, number 42 is at the right tackle, and
quick, we also have Marcus,
Isaiah Hill
and Marcus Brucker in the game. 5'10", 225 junior from Unity Christian here in West Michigan.
He wears 91. He's on that left defensive end. So indeed, the defensive line has rotated its.
And that's a tactic to keep guys fresh. The more guys you can have fresh bodies, the better that pass rush.
1st and 15 for Nye. 3 receivers set to the left. Quick drop, swings it out. The right flat to Woznicki, and he is drilled right there at the 37-yard line on a good, hard tackle
Carson Schnurstein there, the outside backer, man, he came flying downhill, put a shoulder in his back. That's a really great play.
For an injured member of the defense.
Schnurstein's been active.
Please reset the game clock, or
slow to
excuse
get
me,
up
the play
after
clock
that
to
last
40
play.
seconds.
Gain of 2 on the
40
play, so
seconds
it'll
on the
be
play clock.
2nd and 13 at the 37.
One of the things I like early, Bob, that I'm seeing is kind of this 3-3 stack defense. And what I mean by that is 3 down defensive linemen on the center and either on the tackles or the inside shoulder of the guards, and then 3 linebackers stacked behind them. That makes it really difficult for Oberlin's offensive line to double team up to a linebacker and gives Calvin an advantage running to the football.
On 2nd and 13, 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left at their own 37-yard line for Drew Nye and Coach John Ponce Yeoman.
Spread formation here, trying to get some guys out in space.
Nye with time. Now he's flushed out again to the right, flips it down the right sideline. It's intercepted. Picked off at the 44-yard line. And a terrific defensive play by Dylan DeHoop.
Great grab by Dylan DeHoop. We call this high pointing the ball. Drew Nye, under pressure, floats it a little too much, and he goes and high points that ball. He takes it with a vertical leap before anyone else can even get there. It's an incredible aggressive play by Dylan DeHoop. These corners look great early on. I'm very impressed, Bob.
All right, we'll take a break. When we step aside, Calvin comes back on the offensive end. 8:4:16 to go here in the first quarter. No score on Michigan Sports Radio, WTKG and WXSP.
Where will the next revolutionary idea come from? That next breakthrough in scientific research? At Calvin University, you can dream bigger, think deeper, aim higher. Our world-class faculty push students to keep asking hard questions and never settle for the status quo. Become part of a university that challenges students to go beyond as Christ's agents of renewal in the world. Calvin University, go beyond.
Back at Grand Rapids Christian, the Knights in a scoreless battle with Oberlin. 1st and 10. They give us to Hunter Hogan from his own 45 on a jet sweep around the right side. He turns the corner to the 47.
Hunter Hogan, the ball carrier.
We're seeing Hunter on both sides of the ball early. 3 touches in different creative ways. I really like what Ben Dixon is doing so far with him.
Joey Draper over to make the tackle on that last play. 2nd down and 8. Bradman play action. He'll roll to his left. Flip it complete to Carter Bilesma at midfield for a pickup of about 5 along the left sideline.
I like the patience here by Chase Bradman. He's rolling left, which is difficult as a right-handed quarterback. Patiently holding the ball. He's waiting for something downfield. It's not there. Just take the easy completion. Manageable 3rd and 4 here on the left hash.
Kingston Askren able to run Bilesma down. 3rd down and 4. Quick pass over the middle. Almost picked off. It was intended for Jude Klunder. And right there was Cameron Burke, nearly had a pick 6, Tim, the other way.
You know, it's a good read and a good decision, just late. Chase is just a little bit late. You talk about a young receiving core, getting used to it. That ball's got to be out of his hand a little bit sooner. He had pressure in his face, catch set, get the ball out of your hands, and maybe we're talking a 1st down. Instead, it's 4th and 4 and we have to punt.
Back to punt 99, Logan Knapp.
So after picking up 6 yards, the drive stalls, and Logan Knapp will boot it away. Kicking deep to the aforementioned Cameron Burke, standing back at its 10-yard line. Kick again, a good spiral. Bounce at the 12 and roll out of bounds at the 1. How about that?
You cannot go any better than that. That true coffin corner out at the 1. Trent Figg has got to be pleased with the field position battle. Incredible job by the Calvin defense of being stout and the offense really pushing the ball down the field and then making sure that they're doing a great job covering punts in the special teams game to be ready to go. This is an incredible job by shifting the field.
Time now for Planning for Success, presented by Skipper No Strength Wealth Management. Today's Calvin athlete planning for success is defensive back Paul Vanderblue, a junior from Hudsonville, majoring in accounting and a member of the Dean's List. That's Planning for Success, presented by Skipper No Strength Wealth Management, providing the financial clarity, solutions, and service that allow you to focus on what you care about most. 1st and goal in there, 1st and 10 from their shadow of the end zone for Drew Nye at his own 1-yard line. He'll operate the offense. Greg Lane, now his running back, out of the pistol. He has 2 receivers to the right. Oberlin, if you just joined us, still looking for their first down. Nye to throw, quick out, caught and dropped. at the 4-yard line by Evan Smith-Rooks.
What I really like so far with the Calvin defense is they're using aggressive pressure and man coverage to really keep Drew Nye on his toes. Looks like he's not seeing some things clearly in the back end. You see safeties close to the line of scrimmage. You got a weak side blitz there. Hunter Hogan directly there, right behind it as a spy. It's difficult to complete that quick pass against man coverage backed up with the pressure in your face.
2nd down and 10 from the 1. Paul Vanderploeg, good coverage on that last play for Calvin. Out of his own end zone, Drew Nye. 2 receivers to the right. He'll look to the left. Now he's going to scramble, and he's chopped down at the 2-yard line on a great play by Hunter Hogan, who caught him from that defensive night spot.
That's right. This is that night spot we talked about. It's what we call a robber position. If it is a passing down, he has free reign, and his responsibility is the quarterback containing him and reading his eyes, Bob. And that's exactly what he's done very well. He's been down around 5 to 6 yards from the line of scrimmage this entire first quarter.
Trent Figg talked about the athleticism, Tim, of Hunter Hogan. We are seeing it on display. I think more on the defensive side here in the first quarter.
I mean, 3 touches, couple tackles in the mix. I mean, it's incredibly rare at the college level to have a two-way player like this.
3rd down and 9 from the 2-yard line. Their own 2 for Oberlin. 2:26 to go in the scoreless first quarter. Nye to throw. Here comes the rush again. He's going to throw it out of the end zone. From the back of the end zone, a flag ought to come down because he was still in the pocket, Tim, but I don't see an intentional grounding call.
Yeah, the officials are discussing right now, did he step on that end line? It may be a safety if he stepped out before. We're going to be interesting to see what this conference is about. I think it's going to be a safety.
It was. Ike Nordhaus came from the right side in that linebacking spot, and the Calvin Knights have scored their first points in their football history
Offense. Number
on
8.
a safety
Penalty results in a safety.
from an intentional grounding call.
Oberlin will free kick.
And you're right. So what happens here, Bob, in the rule book is an intentional grounding penalty within your own end zone. You simply can't throw it away, and you're in a desperation situation if you haven't broken the tackle box. And so Drew Nye just trying to do anything to prevent a safety, prevent a sack, throws it away in the end zone. That results in the automatic 2 points in the free kick. And again, field position. This is a huge storyline early in the game. A free kick is not as far down the field. It's backed up on your own 20. And so Calvin, yet again, is going to have great field position. You need to get Chase Bradman in a rhythm here, see if the offense can put points up on the board.
Let's give a lot of credit on that particular point there to Logan Knapp, the punter. He was the one who drilled a beautiful coffin corner kick on that left sideline at the 1-yard line, and that set up Oberlin for a
When
very
you're
difficult
preparing
start.
for a game as a head coach, there's different scenarios you work on throughout the week. You work on the red zone, you work on 3rd down, you work on run situation, which is 1st and 2nd down and reasonable. You also worked on backed up, and this is a backed up situation that Oberlin was in. It is awfully difficult for a spread offense like Oberlin that doesn't use a tight end a whole lot to be backed up inside your own 5, especially when they haven't run the ball real well against this stout Calvin front 3. And so right now, really a lot of momentum on the Calvin side. To me, this is a pivotal offensive drive, Bob. Let's get Chase in a rhythm. Let's run the ball effectively and get some points.
Who would have ever thought the first points in the history of Calvin football, Tim, would come from a
2-0.
safety? 2-0.
Who knew it? But you know what? It's the old adage, defense wins championships, defense wins games. And in my book, a safety is as good as a turnover. You get some points, you're going to get the ball here, potentially in Oberlin territory. It's no different than intercepting the football. It's really a momentum-changing play.
So Oberlin will free kick from their own 20. Wes Penta, a native of Spain, has it teed up. He will kick it deep to Russell Ronan Dixon, standing at his 29. Jake Neuenhaus, the other deep man. Dixon's got him for 30 along the sidelines. Motors up outside the numbers to the 46 before Cameron Burke dropped him there. And again, as you said, great field position for Chase Bradman. And I think at this point, with 2:14 to go, watch for that up-tempo to try to take advantage of the wind here. It's been really in Calvin's favor in the first quarter.
And you know, one of the things that was often talked about in my career, when you get in a little bit of a rut, you're struggling offensively, get the first down. Get the first down. And that's what I want to see here is let's just move the chains, get a first down, get some momentum, and then from there, build upon that. You got Mitch Merheisen isolated here on the backside against a much shorter corner. Be interesting to see if they take a shot eventually.
They'll give to Harden on first down, bounces it outside, breaks a tackle at the 49, and then slips his way into Oberlin territory. Dropped at the 49.
Really an impressive effort play here. Hunter Hogan doesn't have the ball, but he is blocking on the perimeter and did a phenomenal job holding down that block. He's really the reason that play extended beyond 5 yards.
From Burbank, California for Oberlin. On 2nd and 4, Harden's got it again. Off the right side, big gainer into Oberlin territory down to the 39.
And really a nice block here by Bryce Perko. Bryce wasn't even in the 2 deep when the week started. We had several changes on the offensive line, and here he is at right tackle, getting up to the 2nd level, moving linebackers and springing a great run. And there it is, that first down.
From the 39 at the right hash, 1st and 10, play action. Bradman swings it left side to Hogan and slips out of a tackle at the 40 and then spins his way inside the 35 down to the 33. And this offense moving here with 1:09 to go.
And I love that call. Another RPO, run pass option. Bradman does a great job reading it. Hunter Hogan in space is something that Trent Figg likes all day long. 8-yard gain.
James Chickway with the last stop there for Oberlin on 2nd and 2. Harden again will get to the right edge. Can't do it though. Tried, and a fine tackle outside the numbers to stretch that play out.
Yeah, this is
Dylan Marshall.
Dylan Marshall, the safety. Great pursuit. In this scheme, playing either man or cover 4, which is dividing the field into 4 quarters, he's the D-gap alley player. That means he's responsible for the gap outside the tackle, and he runs a long way, 10 yards down, and makes the play at the line of scrimmage. Great play by Dylan Marshall.
Big play here, 3rd and 2, probably 4 down territory. Harden takes the handoff from Bradman, fights his way over right guard. I don't think he got it, Tim. He's going to be stopped just shy of the 30. Needed to get to the 29 and a half.
It's going to be about, 4th and 2. This is called what we call a power scheme, a power play. So the left guard, Braden Steinbacher, wraps around. He's a pulling guard coming up on the linebacker. They ran right behind him. Just didn't get much push on the double team, and it resulted in about 1 yard gain.
First quarter ends with Calvin staring at a 4th down and 1 when we come back to start the second. Calvin, after 1 quarter, leads Oberlin 2-0 on Michigan Sports Radio, WXSP, and AM 1230, Talk WTTG.
Where will the next revolutionary idea come from? That next breakthrough in scientific research? At Calvin University, you can dream bigger, think deeper, aim higher. Our world-class faculty push students to keep asking hard questions and never settle for the status quo. Become part of a university that challenges students to go beyond as Christ's agents of renewal in the world. Calvin University, go beyond.
Welcome back to Grand Rapids Christian High School on the southeast side of Grand Rapids. Bob Sack alongside Tim Hiller for the first ever Calvin University football game. And thus far, it has been a defensive gem by the Knights. They have held Oberlin without a first down in the first quarter. They actually caused the safety, and that's why they lead it 2-0 after this first quarter. Now, big 4th down and 1 play as we start the second quarter. Calvin with the ball on the Oberlin 30-yard line.
And this might be the biggest play of the game so far for the Calvin offense. They really need a conversion here on their opportunity to get points on the board.
The give is to the big back, Jackson Cook, and he plows his way over the left side for a first down inside the 25 to the 23.
It's a great run. This is that inside zone concept. Again, simple zone blocking. All linemen step to the left, and then you see the tempo right here off of that first down. Oberlin brought a safety blitz to the boundary, really exposed themselves, kind of opening a gap there, and Calvin took advantage.
Braden Steinbacher, the left guard, with a good block there, along with Hugo Vanderwall to get that first down. Cook got it again, this time over the right side where he had Isaiah Luck and Bryce Perko leading the way. Picked up about 5. Interesting combination here, Tim. You've got the quick back in Jair Harden and more of the power back in Jackson Cook.
It's a great, lightning and thunder duo. They really complement each other well. And you can see Trent Figg leading up to this play on the sideline, waving his arm in a circle. He wants to go faster and wear down Oberlin with tempo.
On 2nd and 5, Cook's got it again, this time running to his left. Tripped up there by Brandon Hall at the 18, picked up a couple, and sets up a 3rd down and 3.
Coach Figg's still shaking his head. He's like, how fast can we go? We need to see some tempo, and he's talking to his offensive coordinator right now, Ben Dixon. Tempo is to Calvin's advantage. The faster they can get to the line of scrimmage with this young offensive line, the better they can move them up front.
On 3rd and 5, Bradman play action will roll right. He finds Bilesma along the right sideline for a touchdown. A flag came in, though. Carter Bilesma caught that little Flare pass from Bradman. This one may come back.
And I could be wrong, but I think it's coming back. I think we're going to have a hold on the edge on 72. Just an unfortunate series of events there.
Offense, number 79. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay third down.
And that's right tackle Bryce Perko. Just got the hands outside the shoulder pads a little bit. Fistful of jersey. It's tough when you have a pass play like that and you're going play action against the run. You're selling runs, so you're locking on that defensive end, and then that defensive end pulls away to chase the ball carrier. In that case, you just held on a second too long, and it cost a touchdown. Difficult situation here. 3rd and 14. There's just no good call for it, Bob. So you want to play 4-down territory here.
2 receivers out to the right. Seth Ritzma, single coverage out to the left. Bradman will roll to the right out of the shotgun. Lofts it down the right side to Hogan. He's got it at the 5.
He's in.
And he's into the end zone for a touchdown.
What a good looking route.
Calvin Knights. Hunter Hogan on a 34-yard pass from Chase Bradman, and the Knights have hit pay dirt for the first time ever.
That's a history-making touchdown, Bob, and what that was a simple post-wheel concept. The outside receiver ran a post.
Official
the
timeout
corner
for an injury.
carried with him, and right.
Lost it down the right side to Hogan. He's got it at the 5.
He's in.
And he's into the end zone for a touchdown.
What a good-looking
Calvin
route.
Knights. Hunter Hogan on a 30.
Really a great route by Hunter Hogan. A wheel route is essentially what we might call an out
Play
and
clock
up. And
should
so
be
he
set to
sells that
25
out route,
seconds.
gives a
We'll start
glance
on my
over the right
whistle.
shoulder, wheels up the sideline. The corner didn't play it real well, and he's wide open. And he did exactly what Trent Figg talked about all week. His athleticism is probably unmatched on the Calvin roster, and he plowed through a tackle, got in the end zone. What a great drive, and a great call on 3rd and long.
How about that? Calvin is on the scoreboard first with a safety, adds a touchdown. They lead it 8-0 with 13:33. Injured Oberlin Yeoman on that last TD. So we'll take a quick break here and tell you that Uccello's Restaurant has a restaurant near you. Go where great food and sports come together. Make sure to try one of their 18-plus specialty pizzas. They offer a variety of handcrafted pizzas, each one a testament to their love and quality of flavor. You can order online at uccellos.com. College education that prepares you not only for your first job, but to thrive throughout your entire life is of great value. And Calvin offers that to its students and has come up with a number of ways to help all families make college more affordable. 100% of incoming Calvin students receive financial aid. Discover the many scholarships and grants you have access to at calvin.edu. Just search financial aid.
Well, Chase Bradman, I talked about getting him in a rhythm, and man, did he find it on that series, Bob. We had the nice RPO throw to Hunter Hogan. We also have that wheel route down here. Just a nice job of getting him some easy balls, getting him in a rhythm. And right now he's 5 of 9, 53 yards and a touchdown, that 28-yard play. A great finish to that drive, and things look pretty good, both sides of the football.
I'm not sure Trent Figg could have scripted this one any better. I think he probably would like to have seen the offense move a little bit more effectively in the first quarter, but boy, his defense, what he was most excited about, Tim, coming in, certainly has lived up to the billing here in the first quarter.
Games are won and lost at the line of scrimmage, and, you know, the Calvin defensive line and that 3-3 stacked front, that's kind of been their favorite look so far. They look stout, they look good. They've definitely won the battle in the trenches so far. We'll see if that continues as the game wears on.
Sal Ruffino, the freshman from Cadillac, on to attempt the extra point out of the Bradman hold. Drives it through. And with that extra point, Knights lead it 9-0, 13:33 to go. We'll take a quick break. You're watching and listening to Calvin Knights football on MichiganSportsRadio.com.
Exactly what you did. I knew exactly what you did. As soon as you got over, I was like, hey, see that again.
Well, this, you see this big crowd enjoying this beautiful Saturday afternoon here for the first ever Calvin Knights football game. And the story of this game has been the defense. First quarter stats, Tim, total offensive plays for Oberlin 14, total yardage 3.
Yeah, it's been a really aggressive showing so far from the Calvin defense. I'm I'm really impressed with the corners. Dylan DeHoop with the interception. Jair Nolan has been locked down man-to-man coverage on the outside, and that 3-3 stack defense is giving Oberlin issues inside.
And kickoff is loose, and look out, it is recovered by Calvin. It took a strange bounce, and alertly jumping on that football was Caden Baldock, the Muskegon Reefs pumper freshman. Recovers the kick, not really an onside kick, but the wind held it up and it took a favorable bounce back towards the oncoming defensive team.
And what a heads-up play. I mean, a kickoff is a live football, no matter if you touch it or not. Different than a punt. If you touch a punt, it's a fumble. This is a live football the whole way, and really just a fortunate bounce, but a heads-up play to jump on it, recover it, and hustle downfield. And now look at, again, the story of the first half, in my opinion, field position. And here you are on the 20-yard line starting. It doesn't get any better than this. Calvin needs to capitalize.
1st and 10 from the 20 for Bradman. He'll fake to Cook, roll to his right, find Bosman. That same little flare pass to the tight end. He's got it for a first down inside the 10 along the right sideline. Dives inside the 5. That's a 17-yard gain on the same pass they ran for a touchdown.
It is. This is called a flood scheme. You've got a seam route on the outside, a 10-yard out by the slot receiver, and then that tight end in the flat. Really a simple, easy read for Chase Bradman. And again, here's tempo, going fast off a first down, trying to punch it in quickly.
Harry Smith saved a touchdown. Here's Hogan on a jet sweep. Oh, he's going to be trapped behind the line, but evades a tackler, races for the pylon, and then is finally hauled down by Hughes at the 6-yard line.
I know it's a loss of 1, but you see what Hunter Hogan's capable of, right? Extending that play, the stop and go, the stutter, the juke. I mean, he's got a lot of explosion, just a lot of great feel for the game. This is an opportunity to assert yourself physically. You've got the big downhill back in the game. Number 22, Jackson Cook out of Whitehall. He's a downhill runner. Great opportunity to give him the ball.
He'll take the handoff on 2nd and goal from the 7. Barrel his way to the left side, and he's not going anywhere. Cameron Burke, Brandon Hall, first to meet him there, drove him back for a loss of a yard. So that sets up 3rd and goal now at the 8-yard line.
Yeah, and guess who on the Oberlin defense? Brandon Hall has been great in the first half. He's in on 7 tackles already.
3rd down from the 8-yard line for Chase Bradman out of the shotgun. Looks, high ball lofted to the left corner of the end zone, and the fade route. Seth Ritzman hauls it down, but they're going to say he was out of bounds as his feet landed just outside the boundary. Great grab by the big wide receiver from South Christian, 6'2", 210 pounds, but he was out of bounds. Good coverage on that play.
This is really just good football on both sides of the ball. Ari Smith, number 14, doing a great job with body position, pushing and closing out, using kind of a box-out technique to push Seth Ritzma towards the sideline. One of the things you talk about with a fade ball is a concept called hold the line. Once you get on top of that corner, hold the line. Ritzma faded a little bit. He needs to hold that line more vertical and just couldn't quite get a foot down, but you want to give that quarterback a box to drop the football in.
Sal Ruffino on to attempt a 24-yard field goal, and is up, and it is good. So Sal Ruffino has Calvin University's first ever field goal to extend the Knights' lead to 12-0. Scoring drive presented by Paris Motors, covered 21 yards in 5 plays, consuming under 2 minutes to put Calvin ahead 12-0. Find your next drive at Paris Motors, a fantastic selection of used cars to meet your specs and budgets right here in Grand Rapids. Today's second quarter is brought to you by Skipper and O-Strength Wealth Management, unlocking your financial potential and building your legacy. That's Skipper and O-Strength Wealth Management.
Really a nice job finishing the drive there. You know, one of the critical things when you get the ball in that good a field position and you have the lead is you've got to continue to extend that lead. Keep your foot on the gas, get some points, and just a good job finishing there with 3. I think, though, they're going to want to have that fade ball back, you know, a couple inches inside. A great effort on the catch, but just didn't quite get the foot down. Left some points out there on the board.
Knights lead at 12-0, just inside of 12 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Really, Calvin has dominated this football game in yardage and in, really, Tim, as you say, field position has been such a factor. Calvin's been effective with the kickoff team and the punt team, pinning Oberlin deep, and the Yeomen have really struggled to move the football out of their own shadow of their own end zone. Here's a high end-over-end kick, drop, and recovered out of bounds at the 14-yard line. Dylan Marshall had trouble handling it, but that was a great kickoff by Evan Raymond. Sent it right to the sideline.
Great placement. You know, if you can place the ball between the numbers and the sideline consistently, as Calvin just did there, that's awfully tough to return. It's tough to set your wedge on your return blocking scheme. And for Oberlin there, had to run a long distance to catch that ball and field it. Just didn't do it cleanly.
Trent Figg talked about his kicker, Evan Raymond, with a really strong leg and just refining each day the accuracy factor in that kickoff team. And boy, he showed it there with a great delivery of a kick.
He sure did. Very accurate.
1st and 10 for Oberlin at the 14. Drew Nye at quarterback. Looks right now, throws back to the left side.
Who else? Hunter Hogan.
Hunter Hogan is right there to stick the receiver, Connor Steele, with his first catch, and he lost 3. Those tunnel screens have been more often negative plays for Oberlin than they have been positive.
They have, and a big reason is, again, that night player, that rover-robber scheme. So you see, even right now in his alignment, Hunter Hogan is in the middle of the field. He's a spy player, totally focused on the backfield. And when you have a tunnel screen like that, he's got a free run to the football. The lineman cannot get up on him. Very difficult to block and get to that second level.
Hogan, number 7, in the middle of your screen. On 2nd down and 11, Knight.
Got a corner blitz here.
Throw. Here comes the rush. Throws over the middle. It's intercepted. Intercepted by Sturstein at the 16-yard line. He stepped right in front of the intended receiver.
What a great play. This is all created by pressure. You have a cornerback blitz to the boundary. Number 2, Dylan DeHoop, blitzing off the boundary edge. He gets to Drew Nye quickly. Does the right thing by trying to get it out of his hand, but throws a dangerous pick over the middle of the field. The old adage when you play quarterback is you never throw it late over the middle, and that's exactly what happened. What a great play at the linebacker spot there by Carson Schnurstein. Just a great play, stepping in front, picking up the ball.
Defense, bench.
Man, field position, every single drive, Calvin with a favorable starting position. And here they are in the red zone to begin yet again.
Schnurstein, the freshman from Portage Central, with a fine first half, particularly with that interception.
A little hitch and go.
Back to throw. He's looking for Ritzma again on that quick hitch and go route in the left corner of the end zone. Good coverage back there by R.E. Smith, as well as help from Cameron Burke. They had him bracketed, Tim, and really no chance for Ritzman to haul that in.
They did. Ritzman's a big kid. He's 6'2", 210. They like that matchup. They like him working on a much shorter corner against number 14, R.E. Smith, who's only 5'9", so you have that advantage there. Just a nice job by Smith in the back end, not biting on the fake and staying home.
2nd and 10 from the 17. Harden's got the handoff this time from Bradman. Tries to get to the outside on the left. Picks up a few yards down to the 13-yard line. Hit hard there by Smith again.
One of the things here with a young football team is yardage on first down is critical. If you can cut the sticks in half every down, you're always going to be a manageable possession, but incomplete passes on first down set you back a little bit.
Bradman out of the gun, rolls to his right, near the numbers, throws at the goal line. He's got a man. It's Hogan again, and he's into the end zone for a touchdown, right at the pylon at the goal line.
And here again we see from Ben Dixon throwing on the run. Chase Bradman does it very well. He's a good dual threat guy on the edge, and really a nice job by the right tackle sealing the edge and getting him on the edge and the outside. And what a great throw. Hunter Hogan, we've said his name a lot. My goodness, 2 touchdowns. An incredible start for him here in the first half.
Hunter Hogan with his 2nd touchdown of the game on a beautiful throw and catch from Chase Bradman. And it's 18-0 as Sal Rufino comes on for the extra point.
Ben Dixon's found something really nice here in that flood package. You've got the out and the short flat route. He's beaten up the flat to the field against Oberlin, and man, really efficient drive there.
That scoring drive presented by Paris Motors covered just 16 yards in 4 plays, consuming just over a minute. A touchdown pass from Chase Bradman to Hunter Hogan of 13 yards gives the Knights a 19-0 lead. Find your next drive at Paris Motors, a fantastic selection of used cars to meet your specs and budget here in Grand Rapids. This month in Calvin Sports History, presented by Applied Innovation, features Calvin's 2015 men's soccer team that won the MIAA title, finished 24-1-1 under head coach Ryan Souders, and reached the NCAA Division III Final Four. A great team from Coach Souders, who's still got it going well on the Calvin soccer scene. That's this month's Calvin Sports History, presented by Applied Innovation. Applied Innovation, networking Calvin alums for 35 years.
Coach Souders is one of my best friends in the world, and just an incredible guy, and I would argue one of the best Division III soccer coaches in the whole country. He's really built a tremendous program. They reload every year. They're on the road today, actually, in Ohio, playing a couple games.
Evan Raymond's kickoff, high end over in, taken by Marshall, the 6 for a fair catch. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 25 for Oberlin. So, Tim, if you're John Pont, the head coach at Oberlin, this is your second year. You felt that you had a second-year scheme that would be a little more effective. It's not been a very effective first half, though. How do you change things if you're the Yeoman?
It has, and it's tough, and there are no easy answers for it. But again, something I said earlier, get the first down. He's got to settle down Drew Nye. Drew has experience. He's in his second year in the system, but he's not seeing things real clearly in this 3-3-5 scheme the Calvin defense is playing. He needs to get some easy completions, and they need to stick with the run game. It's just hard when you're behind.
On 1st and 10, it's Greg Lane finding room over the left side. Spins his way out to the 28, maybe the 29. Picked up 4 before being brought down by Hogan and Braylon Cox.
So let's talk a little bit about this scheme, Bob. It's a 3-3-5 scheme. So you've got 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers directly behind them, and then you've got that Knight or robber player who is Hunter Hogan. It's really difficult for offensive linemen to get up to the second level in their alignment against Calvin. Changing the play here at the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 5 for Drew Nye. Lane behind him in the pistol. 3 receivers to the wide side, the right side. Gives to Lane running to his right, and out of nowhere is Charlie Garbowski to slice through that blocking scheme and rip him down for no gain. Great play by Garbowski.
And this is what we were just talking about with the linemen of those linebackers. Garbowski 10 is the Mike linebacker, which means he's in the middle of the defense, and he's directly stacked behind the nose tackle. That is extremely difficult from an angle perspective for the guard to get off a double team and get to him, and he just had a free run and made a great downhill play.
3rd and 5 now from the 31 for Nye. 8:50 to go here in the first half. Calvin up 19-0. That's right, in their first game ever. Big 3rd down here is Oberlin is still looking for their first down. Option left. The pitch is from Nye to Lane, and he is swarmed under again by Dylan DeHoop. Garbowski was there, so was Trevor Mertens. They stuff him for no gain, maybe a loss of a yard. It'll be 4th down and 6.
And this play, Bob, is all about pursuit. This is called a speed option, so you leave the widest man off the edge of the line of scrimmage unblocked, and he's the pitch key. Drew Nye attacked him, pitched it, but great pursuit by the safeties, Vanderplug and Hunter Hogan in on the play again, running downhill, and just great pursuit.
And on 4th down and 14, Drew Nye is in a position that they may look like they're going for, but I suspect Daniel will drop back here.
It's like
and
a quick kick.
Do the quick kick. He sends a spiral to the secondary of Calvin where no safety is playing and gets a great roll. And that's designed perfectly by John Pond. It'll be down at the 9-yard line. So
yep, really a nice call there. You split the running back in the pistol. You had him take 2 steps back. He took the snap at 7 and kicked it. And again, playing field position. When you're struggling, you've got to try to turn the field. And now a backed up situation for Calvin, which is a new difficult circumstance for a young football team.
A 62-yard punt by Colton Dannell for Oberlin. That's probably one of their more impressive plays of the game. They have really struggled offensively here in the first half. So 1st and 10 for Chase Bradman. 7:53 to go in the first half. Knights lead 19-0. Gives to Harden, dances along the left side, now reverses his field to the right. He's motoring up the right sideline all the way out over the 20. He's got a 1st down at the 23. Finally chased out of bounds by Hughes, the linebacker. Boy, Jair Harden has looked really good here running the football.
And a tremendous play by Jair Harden, this 5'7", 200-pound graduate student. Man, what a cut. He steps to the left of the line of scrimmage. The offensive line gets a nice push and a great cut to split back and cut the zone back.
1st and 10, quick pitch out On a tunnel screen to Hogan, tries to get to the outside. Hemmed in fairly well and run out of bounds for a gain of 4.
What I like about that play is it's just a quick hitter. You come up to the line of scrimmage after a first down, as we've seen Calvin do time and again, play with tempo, and then get that quick completion. It gets you in a rhythm, and it's positive yards on first down that Calvin needs.
Nathaniel Castro credited for the tackle on that last play. Here's Bradman, fake the jet sweep, big hole up the middle for Chase, and for the first time today, we've seen his legs go to work as he motors up to the 31-yard line, picking up a first down on a good, well-designed play by Chase Bradman.
This is called an inverted veer. So you leave the defensive end blocked, you fake the jet sweep, the end is drawn by the jet sweep action, and then Chase Bradman up inside. Great run.
On 1st and 10, they run hard, and he tries to bounce it outside to the right side. Corralled right there at the 32. First in on the stop was Castro. Maybe a yard on the play, so it'll be 2nd and 9. And boy, you're right, Tim, the tempo. Trent Figg loves the tempo. There's not a lot of time between the officials spotting the ball in that 40-second clock setting.
And it's all by design, right? We know that Oberlin has a smaller roster. They have a couple guys that they count on heavily on that D-line and just making sure that they play fast.
Bradman will float it up to the left sideline, intended for Hogan there on that up and out route, and a flag comes in. Could be a holding here on Calvin.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a hold call in the backfield. Going to be declined potentially. It's going to be a long yardage situation. This looks a heads up play though by Chase Bradman. You're flushed, you don't have anything, you have the lead, just throw it away, make the smart play and live another down. As a quarterback, you want to make a profit every snap, make a positive play every snap. Sometimes the positive play is taking a sack, sometimes it's throwing it away.
Holding.
And here he does
Offense.
a nice job
Number
escaping,
64.
getting it out
10
of
yards
bounds.
to the previous spot. Replay 2nd down.
So they will take the penalty. Brings up 2nd and 18.
You know, these are some growing pains. I think if I'm Trent Figg, I can live with a couple holding calls. You have a young group. He talked about physicality, playing aggressive. You don't love to see a penalty, but at the end of the day, your guys are getting after it. They're playing hard to the whistle. I can live with a couple mistakes like that.
Ball at the 28. 6 minutes to go here in the first half. 19-0 Knights. High snap. Bradman corrals it. Finds Bausma on the right flat. He's got room along the right sideline. He's got a first down over the 40. Still on his feet out to the midfield. Stride run out of bounds by Dylan Marshall. But not before he picks up a big gainer there of 26 yards.
And this is Oberlin calling an aggressive scheme. If you looked on that last play, they had 7 guys in the box. They brought what we call a saw, Sam and Will, strong and weak blitz, brought edge pressure, and they just got gashed.
High snap. Bradman corrals that one, and he's going to be snowed under immediately.
I just said you can tolerate some mistakes. You can't have that. A high snap is very costly, and it can be a drive killer. Now you're in a 2nd and 22. It's a difficult position to be in for the offense.
Matt Cohn, the right tackle for Oberlin, flew through there to make sure Bradman could not corral that football and regain composure and run a play. So instead they lose 12 on the play. 2nd down and 22. Ball at the 39. Jet sweep to Hogan. No, it's a fake. Bradman's got it up the middle. He's got daylight to the 50, to the 40. Cuts outside to the 30. Finally caught from behind and pushed out of bounds at the 18-yard line.
This is the exact same call.
Something with that fake jet sweep.
It is. It's, again, we talked about this 5 or 6 plays ago from scrimmage. It's called an inverted veer. So essentially you run the jet sweep blocking, but you don't block the defensive end, and that outside tackle goes up on the linebacker. The defensive end goes with Hunter Hogan. We know he's a threat. It's a great read by Chase Bradman. Pull and keep, follow your blocker. Great call.
42-yard run by Chase Bradman. Now into the game is Russell Roden Dixon. The running back probes the right side to the 15-yard line. Gained 3.5. His first carry. Transfer from Hope College by way of Grand Rapids Catholic Central. 2nd down and 7 for Bradman. Fakes the jet sweep again to Hogan, going left to right. This time the Yeomen diagnose it well. At the bottom of the pile, big number 52, that's Abraham Cromartie. Dropped him for no gain. 3rd down and 7.
3rd time we've seen the scheme. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like the call. 3rd and 6 here, critical down.
2 receivers to the left. Bradman will roll that way. Throws towards the end zone. He's got a man right at the 1-yard line. It is caught, and they'll say he was inbounds. Good catch, by Jude Blunder, right in front of the cornerback Jordan Fishback right along the boundary.
And I'll tell you, there's not a more difficult. It doesn't get much more difficult, and what a throw by Chase Bradman, getting enough oomph on it, getting it there, and a great catch getting 1 foot in by Jude Klunder.
First and goal for the Knights at the 1 yard line, at the 3 yard line, they'll spot it. Jackson Cook back into the game. Bradman with a fade route, right corner of the end zone, complete to Mishmer Heisman on the high lob, and it is a touchdown, Calvin Knights.
And this is all about matchups. We talked to Trent Figg this week. He said we like Mishmer Heisman. He's 6'7". He can go up and get the football. And here he is against a much shorter corner, number 0, Nathaniel Castro.
Illegal substitution.
Only 5'10".
Defense. The penalties decline. Touchdown scores. The try.
I like 6'7" against 5'10", don't you? Throw it up and play some football. That's one-on-one matchup at its best, and a great throw and great catch.
Luke Mishmer Heisman from Holland Christian with his first touchdown, the 3rd TD pass of the afternoon for Chase Bradman. Previous 2 went to Hunter Hogan, this one to Mishmer Heisman. And Ruffino on for the extra point with 3 minutes to go. Calvin up 25-0 here in the first half. It is good. How about that? Got to give some credit here, Tim, too, to this Calvin offensive line.
Oh, they've settled in.
Start in the first quarter, where
absolutely
a couple of 3 and outs. They have really settled down, and Mike Liggett, the center, Isaiah Luck, the left, right guard, Bryce Perkle at right tackle, Braden Steinbacher, left guard, and Hugo Vanderwalt, left tackle. These guys were not the starting lineup until 2 days ago. That's how tough this week has been for the offensive line, yet they have come together so well here in the second
They have.
quarter.
I mean, you know, we talked about a loss of 12 earlier on that botched snap, but in the 2 deep we got earlier in the week, Mike Liggett was the left tackle. I mean, you talk about a tough job switching and sliding down to be the center. They've really done nicely, and the thing that's helping them, Bob, that we talked about again is tempo. I love every time there's a first down conversion, Calvin is right up to the line of scrimmage with hustle, and you can see Oberlin is really starting to wear down up front. And if you look out of the field now, for example, you know, a couple of their key players, for example, 95 Matt Cohn, he's out there on kickoff return right now. He's hunched over, he's got his hands on his knees, he is gassed. He's playing a lot of downs, and that tempo, when you're getting first downs, can be very detrimental to a defense that's winded.
Evan Raymond has it teed up at the 35. He'll drive it along the right sideline where Burke corrals it at the 20, and he is just level. At the 23-yard line, it was Caden Bolduck again. And Tim, that's the young man who recovered the fumble on that previous, or the kick on that previous kickoff.
Making a name for himself. You know, one of the best ways to get yourself more snaps on offense or defense is to play special teams, but it's a heart and guts position. Not everybody wants to do it, and there's just fulfilling your role. Whatever you're given to do, you do it to the best of your abilities, and a great hustle play, and man, what a stick.
How about this? 3 minutes to go in the first half. Oberlin with 6 total yards and no first downs.
Unbelievable. It's a great showing by the Calvin defense. This 3-3-5 scheme, I mean, it's tough. It's confusing. They're moving guys around, and Oberlin just not seeing things clearly.
And on 1st and 10, the Yeoman's cause is not going to be helped there as Nye and Lane misexchanged the handoff. The fumble had the ball on the carpet, recovered back at the 23, so a loss of 5.
And you just can't do this, especially when you're struggling. You know, it's one thing to have mistakes or difficult things that are a bit outside your control. A center quarterback exchange and then a handoff, it's simply all under your control. These are fundamental things, and unfortunately a difficult setback that puts Oberlin now in a difficult 2nd and 17.
From the 23, Lane behind Nye in the pistol, 2 receivers out to the left side. Play action, nail pivot and roll to his left, flips it short underneath to Woznicki, hit immediately by Mertens.
Great tackle here in space by Mertens.
At the 32.
He gets held up in the box, so he's at middle backer position. We've seen him and Charlie Garbowski rotating at the mic. He's in that mic backer position. That's a long way to run.
Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes. This is the 2-minute timeout.
And there's new for college football, the 2-minute, not warning, but the 2-minute timeout this year in NCAA football, and sets up a 3rd and 7 when Oberlin goes back on the offensive end. Stay tuned for today's halftime show presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union. We'll have highlights, first half analysis, and a couple of special conversations. Matt Kaczynski will be with Calvin President Greg Elzinga and Provost Noah Tolley. And later I'll be joined by Pat Coleman, generally regarded as the national media guru of D3 football. That's all coming up at halftime, presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union, where members really like earning more when they save and paying less when they borrow. Tim Hiller, this has been a first half that I think if you're a Calvin Knight football fan, and those people are fairly new.
That's right.
They haven't been around too long. You couldn't have written this one any better.
No, you couldn't. And yet I think
26-0.
If I know Trent Figg, the little bit I'm getting to know him, I love his hunger, his drive. He's happy, but I guarantee you he's certainly not satisfied. There's definitely some little things to clean up. He's got an opportunity now to slowly rotate some guys in, see what they've got, and get them some repetition. You cannot manufacture game reps with a young football team, and this is a great opportunity.
Calvin pinning Oberlin back for a safety. But here in the second quarter, after a 2-0 first quarter, Calvin's offense has really seized the great field position and piggybacked off that defense that has been continually stout.
Charged timeout. Calvin, their second of the half.
And on that 3rd down and 7, the Yeomen run it up the middle.
Was the ball carrier.
And this is a great...
Please reset the game clock to 1 minute, 52 seconds. 1 minute, 52 seconds. Thank you.
Delta rush. Great clock management here. Yeah, great clock management here. So you've got a 3rd and 6. You're going to kind of see what happens. If they get the first down, you obviously let the clock run towards the half. But here, 4th and 4, you go ahead and stop that clock. I wouldn't be surprised here if Oberlin actually goes for it. But the chance to get the ball going into half with another opportunity to score and extend the lead to 33-0. Great job by Trent Figg here, managing the clock, having his offense ready, and get off the field, hopefully with yet another score before the half.
Well, the other thing, too, is given the situation, this is the time where you test your 2-minute offense a little bit that you may...
It's another situation.
You need to get experience at. And,
That's right.
Chase Bradman really has had a short field all game to work with. Potentially now it's truly a 2-minute long field situation.
That's right. As a head coach, you want to work on as many scenarios as possible. Calvin's never done this before. It's their first game, and so the chance to run a 2-minute drill, great experience.
Colton Daniel standing back at his 21 to kick it deep to Hunter Hogan. Oh, he kicks it high but short. Really didn't take advantage of the wind. The ball bounces out of bounds on the right sideline at the 40. So not bad field position with 1:44 to go. And 2 timeouts left for Calvin.
It's a perfect scenario, and so again, you've heard me say this 2 or 3 times, but getting the first down is one of the keys to success in a 2-minute drill. You have 2 timeouts. You don't necessarily have to be overly consumed with getting out of bounds. You just need to get the sticks moving, and if you can get 2 first downs, now you're in striking range for a score. 1:44, a short field, 2 timeouts. It's plenty of time to get at least 3, if not a touchdown.
That Calvin offensive line with Hugo Vanderwall and Bryce Steinbacher on the left side did a really nice job. This time Brad will roll to his right, throws into a well-covered Hunter Hogan right there, blanketing. Hogan was James Chickway, big cornerback, incomplete.
Yeah, and this is just a good play by Chickway. I mean, they have the play covered. It's a good decision by Bradman. Just nothing really open, but he throws an accurate ball where only his guy can get it, or it's an incompletion, and good coverage by Oberlin. 2nd and 10.
From the 40 with 1:40 to go here in the first half. Cook is the running back. He'll stay in the block for Bradman. Straight drop. Guns at left sideline. Almost picked off. Intended for Ritzma. Right there in front of him was Nathaniel Castro. Stepped in front of the pass and knocked it out of bounds. So 3rd and 10 from the 40.
Yeah, and if you're Oberlin, you know, you're just looking for small wins here, right? Getting some momentum, and 2 plays in a row they've covered well. This is what we call a smash concept. You have a corner route deep, you have a out route in the flat, and they covered it well. They defended it. Nothing really there for Bradman. Kind of throws it away.
3rd down and 10. Bradman out of the gun. He'll roll to his right, being chased by Hall. Hall got a beat on him, but Bradman's able to outrun him near the first down marker along the right sideline. And I think he may have picked it up, if not very, very close.
And this is what we talked about in the pregame, right, with Chase Bradman, is he has the ability to run and pass. He's had 3 or 4 great runs. This is a bit of an improv. They run a flood pattern as they've done earlier. They're rolling out to the right. Nothing's there. Pulls it down, runs for 10 yards, and Luke Mitchmerheisen with a great effort play coming back and blocking.
86 seconds to go. Bradman straight back to throw again. Guns at right sideline, complete to Mitchmerheisen at the marker. First down at the 39. Quick out route, moves the chains. Clock stops with 1:20 to go.
Really a nice catch. His ball's a little bit behind him. Luke went down and got it, and a nice first down.
Bradman out of the gun, straight back again, looks down the right sideline for Mitch Meisman. He's got him again, but he stepped out of bounds at the 17. I think the pass, that's probably an incomplete pass, right? Because I think Mitch Heisman may have run his route, Tim,
That's
out
right.
of bounds, and he cannot come back into the
He can't be the first one to touch the football. Now, if it's ruled that he was pushed out of bounds, that's a different story. But if he's the first one to touch it when it comes back in, cannot be a completed pass. We'll see what they have here at the conference on the far sideline. Nonetheless, a great play. You can't take it away from him. A great catch, a great run after, but probably an illegal touch here.
Illegal touching. Offense, number 18. Receiver went out of bounds, came back in, and was first to touch the pass. Penalty is a walk down at the previous spot. Second down.
This is a difficult play. You know, one of the things as a receiver that you need to be focused on is what we call your split. And your split is how near to the sideline or how far you are from the tackle. Mitch Merheisen here has a wide split, meaning he's close to the sideline. When you run an out route, you've got to be really cognizant of how close am I to the sideline, and he just stepped out of bounds. Needs to cut that split in a little bit, be aware on the out and up route.
Second down and 10 from the 40. Hogan in motion, right to left. They'll give it to him on the jet sweep. Tries to get to the edge. Breaks the tackle from Marshall at the 38. But then is hauled down by Smith at the 36. That'll keep the clock moving with 55 seconds to go.
He didn't get out of bounds, but you know, it's not the end of the world. You've still got a timeout left, 50 seconds, and as fast as Calvin's been playing, plenty of time to still move the football.
3rd and 6. Bradman to throw. Slings it left sideline, incomplete, too far for Ritzma. Boy, he's gone for Seth several times today. Just hasn't been able to connect with the freshman receiver from South Christian. A couple of South Christian grads.
And this is good coverage by Nathaniel Castro. I really like, you know, for Castro, he got beat on the fade ball to the field by Mitch Merheisen for a touchdown. Comes back, and this is just great defense. He's in good position, covers well. Not very good separation by Ritzma because, quite frankly, good defense. Physical at the point of attack. And a good defensive play by the corner Castro.
4th and 6. Bradman from his the 36 of Oberlin. Here comes the rush, and they're going to drag him down for a loss back at the 48-yard line. Colton Daniel blitzed from that linebacker spot and was able to make the play. And you said Oberlin was looking for some wins, and they got one there.
That's a win for them. You're looking for you're grasping for anything you can get to have a positive play heading into half, and really a great stand there by.
Please reset the game clock to 40 seconds. 40
First time
seconds.
Chase Bradman, Tim, goes down behind the line, which I think speaks to some pretty good protection, but also his elusiveness.
Absolutely. You know, he's kept a lot of plays alive. The highlight of that drive for sure was that 3rd and 10 run. He sprints out, nothing's there, makes a good choice to haul it down. On that play, I know Chase is a veteran. He's going to want to have that back. You just, on a 4th down situation heading into half, especially in the 2-minute drill, you can't take a sack on 4th down, and you certainly can't take a sack in the 2-minute drill, and just unfortunate that he wasn't able to convert there. But you really want to get the ball out of your hands. It's as good as a punt, even if you throw an interception.
So with 40 seconds to go,
Please reset the play clock to 25 seconds. It will start on my whistle.
Drew Nye with 25 seconds to go will set up shop 1st and 10 from his own 47. Still looking to get into Calvin territory for the first time today. Out of the gun, he has time. Now floats to his right, lofts it along the right sideline, incomplete, underthrown for Greg Lane. Good coverage down there as the Knights dropped 8.
Yes, they did. Only rushed 3, dropped 8. They have a nickel defense in the game, which means 5 defensive backs on the field. And it's just tough to get a shot over the top on the pre-snap read there. He had a post over the top. He just held the ball a little too long. Receiver outran his arm, and there wasn't much he could do. I would stay aggressive here, though. If I'm John Pont, you've got all 3 of your timeouts, 32 seconds. You need some kind of momentum, some kind of points. Drive the ball down the field, see what you can get. Got to protect the quarterback, though.
26-0. Calvin on top. Press coverage shown by the corners here. On 2nd and 10, Nye has time. Out of the gun, he's got a man open down at the 30. Nice grab by the receiver, Raphael Green-Arnone, and a beautiful throw from Drew Nye.
It's a great ball. Yeah, I mean, if given time, you see there what he's capable of, and the accuracy we saw in warmups and we heard about during the week. This is a bubble
Oberlin.
go concept.
They're first to the half.
Your slot receiver runs a bubble screen, which is opening to his left. It draws the corner up, and he did that. He drew up number 2, the corner, and threw it over the top, and really, Dylan DeHoop had the pick earlier. He's played a really good game. They just drew up a good scheme there and got a nice play over the top, and that's exactly what Oberlin needed. 24 seconds. You still have 2 timeouts. They've got to be thinking touchdown.
Nye has thrown the ball today 13 times, completing 6. That was his best effort by far. He's threw for 41 yards, a 27-yard pass.
The killer, unfortunately, on his stat line is the 2 picks. And, teams that win the turnover margin consistently win a lot of games. And Calvin up 2-0, plus the kickoff that was muffed. 3-0, really, and the turnover margin. That's a winning recipe, and that's why they're in the position they're in here heading into the half.
Mark that down, Tim. That is the first down for Oberlin with 24 seconds to go in the first half. How about that Calvin defense? 3 wide receivers to the right side, the wide side for Drew Nye. Woznicki stays in the block. Nye flushed out to his left, now flips it short underneath, complete again to Rafael Green-Arnone along the left sideline. Ushered out of bounds by Dylan DeHoop.
And you had Gage Jones over there, number 4, the freshman defensive back from Ludington, one of his first reps in the game, and he came up at Drew Nye, saw him maybe be a run threat, left coverage, and Nye was able to get it over his head. It's tough to defend when you have a scrambling quarterback like that.
First and goal from the 10. Nye back to throw, rolls out again, now flushed out, whips it right sideline at the 5-yard line, incomplete, intended down there for Evan Smith-Rooks. That's the leading receiver from last year, caught 45 balls last year, and he has been shut out today, has not had a reception.
He really has. He's been in the slot a lot, and with this 3-3-5 scheme you're seeing from Calvin, he's got usually some kind of alley player, usually an outside linebacker over him, and then a safety over the top. It's almost a bracket coverage, and it's difficult to get free in space against that look.
10 seconds to go, 2nd and goal at the 10. Oberlin knocking on the door for the first time today. First time they've been in the red zone, first time they've been in Calvin territory. Play action. Nye, corner of the end zone. It's intercepted. Intercepted by Dylan DeHoop, who was blanketing the receiver Green-Arnone, and the Calvin Knights turn away the red zone offense from Oberlin.
2 interceptions on the day for DeHoop. What a great play. And, this is all about pressure. Drew Nye had someone in his lap coming off the left edge. The defensive end's getting pressure. We talked about Isaiah Hill in the pregame. He creates some pressure there, gets outside, and Drew Nye is throwing that ball fading away off his back foot. And because of that, he left it short and inside. DeHoop right there in position makes a great play. And, just the exact opposite, quite frankly, of what you want if you're Oberlin. You cannot turn it over there. You had to have points. And heading into the half, the momentum is all Calvin's.
Chase Bradman will take a knee, and that is the way the first half will end. How about that? Calvin University in their first ever football game, leading at halftime 26-0 over the Oberlin Yeomen. Let's send it down to Matt Kosinski. He's got the coach, Trent Figg.
Coach, you have to like what you saw in the first half. Your defense starting things with that safety, but the offense really getting going in the second quarter. What's your takeaway after this first half?
Yeah, so we talk to our guys all the time about the Knights can't beat the Knights, right? And so our defense started fast. Our offense took a little bit longer to get going. Once they started clicking, they started believing. The whole deal now is 100% focus, right? We're winning the takeaway battle. We're winning the rushing game. We've got to continue to do that. 100% focus for the rest of this entire game.
All right, thanks, Coach. Have a good half. And we'll send it back to you in the booth, Bob.
Thank you, Matt Kosinski. 26-0. Tim Hiller. I'm not sure you could dream of a better start for Calvin, and really they've done it in all 3 phases of the game.
They really have, offense, defense, and special teams. The special teams highlight being the kick that wasn't fielded properly by Oberlin. Great hustle play, diving on the fumble. 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions. Just a great job. And then taking care of the football. You had a muff snap, but other than that, really good ball security by the Calvin Knights. And Chase Bradman, man, getting in a rhythm. Looking at his stat line here, incredible. I was giving him a little bit of a hard time. He must have heard me of, hey, getting in a rhythm. 12 of 21, just under 60% of his passes, 140 yards, 3 touchdowns, and only 2 sacks. And he's really showed the ability to keep plays alive, had a great 3rd and 10 run. I like what I see. They're off to a good start.
The other thing, too, Trent, I know, wants to have a balanced offense. Run the football 30 times for 98 yards in the first half. That's not a bad average. Well, and then thrown at 21. That's pretty good balance.
Well, we talk about tempo, 51 plays and a half. I mean, that's incredible. The time of possession completely in Calvin's favor. And playing with tempo has really helped the Knights. When you think about the desire of Trent to get a first down, get right up on the ball immediately, and really wear down the Yeoman, it's working. And it's helping this young offensive line get positive plays.
Some of the other first half stats to take a look at. Been impressed by the running attack of Calvin, as we said, but Jair Harden's the guy who's been leading the charge. He did not start the game. He's the quicker of the backs. Jackson Cook, more of the power back. Cook has carried 6 times for 19 yards. Harden 11 for 42. You got to like that thunder and lightning in the backfield.
I really do, and I think the vision of Jair Harden has been impressive. He had a couple zone plays that weren't there right away. He was patient. He hung behind the guard, getting up to the second level on the linebacker, and broke a big run. And how about Chase Bradman, 62 yards rushing? Those inverted veers where we fake the fly sweep to Hunter Hogan, pull it, read the defensive end, get upfield, and he's just been very effective running the ball as well.
But the story of the first half has been the defense. It
Without
has been
question.
A masterful effort by Josh Lawson's defense. The stats are just rather stunning. 1 first down, 2 first downs for Oberlin, both coming here in the last moments of the first half. 11 yards rushing, 1 yard net rushing on 11 carries, 57 passing yards, most of them on that 27-yard throw near the end to Arnone. It has been a defensive masterpiece by Josh Lawson.
It really has. I mean, sacks and turnovers change games, and there's been a lot of both. Pressure on Drew Nye. When Drew Nye can set his feet, as we saw in that last series, he can really deliver the ball, but rarely has he been able to do that. And the pressure right there caused the interception in the end zone. It's a great, bow-up stop by the defense with their back against the wall. And the Yeomen are really struggling with this 3-3 scheme. It's a difficult alignment to begin with, but you can tell it's giving them a lot of fits, and they're not quite ready for it.
Well, we'll step aside here, and when we come back, the Lake Michigan Credit Union halftime show marches on. We'll head down to Matt Kaczynski when we return with a couple of special guests. 26-0 at the half. Calvin on top of Oberlin. It has been just a masterful first half for the Knights. Much more to come here at halftime. You're watching Calvin Knights football on WXSP.
The best part of grad school would be the connections that you make, not only with your cohort, but with the professors as well.
I felt very supported, and I don't feel alone in the program.
I just really feel like each individual in the program gets a relationship with the professors in a different way that's meaningful to them and is more geared to them.
I'm a grad student at Calvin University. Yay! Okay.
Welcome back to Grand Rapids Christian High School in Southeast Grand Rapids. It is halftime here on this historic day of Calvin University as the football program makes its debut, and boy, has it done it in fine fashion. 26-0. The Knights lead Oberlin here in the first half after a defensive struggle in the first half that resulted in the only scoring of the quarter being a safety at the end of the first quarter. Calvin exploded on offense in the second half. 3 touchdown passes from Chase Bradman, 2 to Hunter Hogan, 1 to Luke Mishmerheisen, a field goal added in there by Sal Ruffino, and it is 26-0. Calvin dominating the first half. Well, the story of Calvin's journey to launch a football program is long, and it is dramatic, and it is wonderfully successful. And 2 guys that helped to make it happen are standing by with Matt Kaczynski on the field right now. Matt?
Hey, Bob, I'm here with interim president Greg Elzinga and provost Noah Tolley, and they've been involved with football from the start of these conversations. And so, Greg, I'll start with you. When you look around, a marooned out crowd, sold out facility, 26-0 first half, what is the feeling?
Yeah, it's absolutely spectacular. It couldn't have started better for the Calvin community. We're so pleased with the football team and all the planning and preparation they put into place. But to see the Calvin community turn out like this, the maroon and gold, the engagement, the enthusiasm is second to none. And I couldn't be more proud of our entire campus community and all of our alumni and donors and community partners who helped make this possible.
Absolutely. Noah, you've been invested in football since you got to Calvin a few or so years ago. on the athletic strategic plan team, on the team that brought Coach Figg in here. And what is it like now that you're seeing all of this?
Oh, it's fantastic, Matt. I couldn't be prouder of the team that brought this together. Another one of our administrator colleagues points out we've got a team on the field and a team off the field, and that's absolutely true. The effort that we put in off the field is exactly what makes for the winning on the field.
And I know we talked about this a couple of years ago. They announced that it was coming, but this has not been a recent conversation. Talk a little bit about how long Calvin has been talking about football.
Yeah, well, if you ask how long Calvin has been talking about football, in some ways it's 150 years. We've been wearing the undefeated since 1876 shirts, and hopefully we can still wear them on Monday, which would be great. But, you know, I know Calvin's history back about 12 years on this, maybe 14 years on this. There was a very serious conversation about football around 2010, 2012, another one around 2018. And a lot of the homework was put in then by a lot of people who are still around. When we put together the athletic strategic plan in 2021-22, it was included there, but it was building on the work that had already been done. And the past 3 years, including bringing in Coach Figg, has been just a joy to watch the team come together and watch this product get out of the field.
And from hearing from people at Calvin, they were thinking about this decades even before that. So, Greg, there's been a lot of support for football. In just 2 years, you see all of the people that have poured in their support for the program. What's next? What can we expect next for football?
Yeah, so our work from this point on is really to get this team back on playing on campus as soon as possible. We're really grateful for our partnership with Grand Rapids Christian High School to be able to partner with them and do this. But to really get our entire campus community and our students involved on a week in and week out basis, we want to get our team playing back on campus. So we really are going to be working to raise the funds to put a field and a stadium on campus as soon as possible.
Because as we saw with that safety down there, you have the loud student section. That's like a 12th man, and that's going to be even more on campus, so that's awesome. And finally, you both are personally connected to football. No, I know you were a college football player back in the day. Your son plays here at Grand Rapids Christian High School. Greg, your son's down at the University of Oklahoma playing for them. There's just something about football that brings a community together, and there are so many side benefits to football. Do you want to just talk about what some of those are?
Sure, Matt. I would say football is one of the ultimate team sports. You can't play it by yourself. It's not about individual accomplishments. And in some ways, it's an ultimate community sport. It brings that weekly rhythm that most of our other sports don't bring, and it's a great way to start the academic year. And I think at schools like Calvin, it can really show off the community spirit that we already have.
Anything you want to add?
No, I would just say there's something magical about a fall afternoon, right? We have cooler temps, beautiful weather, and it's just so awesome to see our community like this.
Awesome. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Bob, we're going to send it back to you in the booth.
Thank you, Matt. Great job. Right now is ahead 26-0 over Oberlin in the first ever game here at halftime. The Lake Michigan Credit Union halftime show marches on. When we return, we'll have a visit from a very special guest as well. Pat Coleman, the executive editor of D3 Football, joins us. That's all ahead on the halftime show. 26-0, nice lead at halftime.
In West Michigan.
Welcome back inside Grand Rapids Christian High School, where it is halftime here of this first ever Calvin University football game. The Knights lead Oberlin 26-0 here at the break. And speaking of Division III football, pleasure to be joined by what some people consider the guru of Division III football across America. Pat Coleman is the executive editor of D3 Football. Welcome back to Grand Rapids. It's been a while since you've been here, I assume. Great to have you here. And your history is expansive with D3 Football. Been a sort of a consultant for USA Today, ESPN, when those networks and media outlets need to know more about this level of the game. What's been so compelling to you over the years that got you pulled into D3 football and has what you think the fans across America just really enjoy about it?
Well, I think it started 30 years ago or so. I was a student at a Division III school, and then later I was the sports information director at Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. And in a market where there were 5 Division I schools and 4 pro sports teams and just no coverage of even the local Division III schools. And as, you expand out and you saw, especially in the 90s, no coverage at the national level. ESPN's not talking about it. CBS isn't talking about it. And you get to the late 90s and the web becomes a viable way to disseminate information. I took my journalistic skills from my day job at USA Today and kind of poured it into how can we cover Division III football and Division III basketball and later Division III baseball in the best way possible. And that is how we ended up where we are today, way too many years later, 27 years later.
Pat, here in West Michigan, we're so familiar with D3 sports through Hope and Calvin, and of course it centers around basketball more than anything, but tell us about the landscape nationally of D3 football as it relates to conferences and regions. Just in a nutshell, what do the fans need to know as we start to get familiar on the Calvin side with this?
I think if you're familiar with some of the big conferences in Division III basketball, it kind of goes the same way for Division III football. Your WIAC, the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, is big on the football field. The CCIW, College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin. Ohio Athletic Conference, just because Mount Union has won umpteen, I think it's actually 13 national championships. That is, kind of the epicenter of Division III football, is fairly similar to what it is nationwide. Now, in the last couple of years, the eastern half of the country has made a bit of a rise. Alma made a bit of a rise last year and got to the national quarterfinals out of the MIAA, which is a big deal for this conference, and then ran into Cortland. Cortland out of New York State gave that part of the country a championship for the first time in basically 30 years. So, it'll be interesting to see if that sort of stuff continues, but it's been very interesting over the last couple of years.
You mentioned Alma. They're the bullies on the block right now in the MIAA. Where does the MIAA stand in the pecking order of the national landscape?
They're moving up in the pecking order. It used to be that the MIAA, basically had won about 2 NCAA playoff games in the history since the playoffs expanded and got automatic bids in 1999. Had won 2 games in all of that time in the playoffs. So for the last couple of years, Alma's won a playoff game 2 years ago. Then they won a number of them last year. It's helping the MIAA move up. Hope's been pretty strong the last couple of years. They were on the cusp of getting a playoff bid last year. Now this year, there are 40 playoff bids instead of 32, so there are 12 at-larges instead of 4, and not impossible for the MIAA to get an at-large team in the field for the first time in basically ever.
D3football.com is where you need to go to learn about the entire landscape of intercollegiate Division III football here across the United States. Notwithstanding the first half, which has gone very well for Calvin, what's the blueprint in your mind for Calvin University as they chart a course towards national success in Division III football?
I think that the ways that Division III startup programs are successful are, doing the sort of thing that they've been doing already, which is building, especially locally, get your name out locally, have some success in the first year. And there's kind of a difference of opinion. Some coaches are going to be like, I'm going to put my playmakers on defense. We're going to keep games close. And we're going to keep kids and fans interested. And others are like, I'm going to put them all on offense. We're going to have a high-scoring, exciting games. And we might not win all of them, but we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And, it'd be interesting to see how that shows out. Obviously, it's been a success on both sides of the ball for Calvin. Oberlin's been a program that has struggled just to maintain roster size. So this is a good start for Calvin, and we'll see how it goes the rest of the year.
All right, Pat Coleman, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being in Grand Rapids today. Great to have you here and hope to have you back as well.
Appreciate it.
That concludes the Lake Michigan Credit Union halftime show. We'll take a break. When we return, get ready for the third quarter. You're watching Calvin Knights football on WXSP.
Join the next generation of global business leaders at Calvin University School of Business, offering 8 undergraduate majors and 2 master's degrees, and exceptional faculty with real-world experience who will partner with you and guide you along the way, and opportunities to participate in internships, study abroad programs, and hands-on learning experiences. This is Calvin University School of Business. Your future begins here.
Welcome back to Grand Rapids Christian High School. It is 26-0 as we get set to start the third quarter. And Tim Hiller, we've talked a lot about Calvin and the great start, but let's talk about Oberlin. You heard Pat Coleman just at the end talk about this is a program that's had trouble the last few years. They've won 2 games in the last 3 years. John Pond is in his 2nd season. You're down 26-0 at the half. You've got a roster that's not that large. What does he try to accomplish here in the second half? Because clearly his players came into this game thinking they could beat the upstart team.
That's right. You know, it's the old adage, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so it starts literally play by play by play. And if I'm him, I'm setting milestones and landmarks for my team that when we come out of this half, we're going to get a stop on the first series. Let's get them 3 and out. Let's get the ball back. Let's move the football down. It's really all you can do to claw back in this game. You know, the big thing to watch here in the third quarter is who makes the first mistake and what is the first momentum shifting play. If there's a turnover early, if there's a change of possession, if the field position game skews back in Oberlin's favor, they have a chance to get back in this game. But if you're Trent Figg, the message is stay focused. We cannot let up. And right now, getting the ball back up 26-0, putting a score on the board really can break the spirit of a team that's down.
Great to have you with us this afternoon on MichiganSportsRadio.com, AM 1230 Talk WTKG, CalvinKnights.com, and of course WXSP Television. Beautiful Saturday afternoon here in West Michigan. And the Knights, after winning the toss and deferring in the first half, will receive the second half kickoff. Jake Neuenhaus, Ronan Russell Dixon back deep to receive the kick from Wes Penta. You mentioned a little bit about Oberlin. Funny story for you. Did you know that Oberlin is the only team in college football ever to beat Michigan and Ohio State in the same season 3 times?
That is incredible.
1892.
Wow.
The Yeomen pulled off that feat, knocked off the Wolverines twice and the Buckeyes once. And
it's quite a claim to fame.
That really is.
I was doing a little research on what is a yeoman, and they used to say the O-men because they had an O on the letter jacket, right? So the yeoman is what it became for short, and then they adopted that squirrel logo later. There's a lot of squirrels, I guess, in the quad on campus, so kind of interesting to learn the neat history here.
Penta's kickoff drives Russell Dixon back to the 16 where he covers the loose ball, and that'll be where Calvin will start. That's probably as unfavorable starting field position as the Knights have had all afternoon.
It is, and you know that's okay though. I think you have an ball from all positions, and good chance here for Calvin to again get that first down, start the drive well, and get some points on the board.
Bradman to throw on first down, fires it right side on setting up a tunnel screen to Hogan, but airmailed it incomplete over the outstretched hands of Hunter Hogan. That offensive line has Bryce Perko at the right tackle spot. He's number 79. Also in there is Hugo Vanderwall at the left tackle spot, number 64. Braden Steinbacher, 52, at left tackle. On 2nd down and 10, Jackson Cook weaves his way through the left side of the offensive line into the second level, picked up about 7. Little shifty move there from the big power back on
really
that first carry.
This mixture and rotation of running backs has been very successful in the first half. Obviously, Coach Figg has a strategy for it, but right there, just a nice piece of running.
On 3rd and 2, short of the first down will be Cook.
You know, and if you're John Pont, this is exactly what you wanted. Getting a 3 and out, forcing a 4th down, and then Trent Figg sending on the punt team. You couldn't ask for anything better for Oberlin. This is what you want to do to get started, but having a couple guys down here, not what you want to see.
Matt Cohn was the first to meet Cook and make that strong defensive stand there to prevent the first down, but he's the one who's also injured on the play, as is another defensive lineman.
Yeah, and you hate to see that. Cohn's been all over the field. He's on special teams. He's been in on a lot of tackles. Hopefully he's okay. And, you know, if you're Ben Dixon here kind of regrouping your offense, you've got to say, guys, we need positive yards on first down. It's a difficult position to be in 2nd and 10. You run that bunch screen and really just simply a little bit of an inaccurate throw from Chase Bradman. Got to put it right on his numbers, ideally on his upfield shoulder so that you're leading him up the field, carrying his momentum towards the line of scrimmage, and that incompletion ended up really being the difference in punting versus moving the sticks.
While we have this injury timeout, let's go to Matt Kosinski. He is down on the field just exploring and experiencing all the excitement and festivity that is this first ever football game at Calvin University. Matt, who do you have with us?
First down.
Great start. What a day, what an experience. We just got to keep it going, Matt.
Talk about this. Back in the 90s, you were at Calvin. There wasn't football, but you were a two-sport athlete. What's it like to have football now at your alma mater?
For the alumni of Calvin University, what an experience. Just fun for everyone associated with the school to get this program going and to see the kids involved. So many fans out here. Just fun for the whole Calvin community.
And you work at Unity Christian in the athletic department, so what's it like to have Calvin as another option you can send your students to?
Very fun to see our athletes out there and just to have students at Calvin University. And what an opportunity for a lot of young people from West Michigan, including our Christian schools locally.
Awesome.
Just to see them out there on the field, it's awesome.
Well, thank you, Doug. Enjoy the second half. Back to you, Bob, in the booth.
Thanks, Matt. That was Doug Vanderplug, who was standing by with Matt Kosinski. Doug is the father of Paul Vanderplug, the fine safety, starting safety, the junior, who's really been one of the leaders on this team in the classroom, in the locker room, really bringing the young guys into the fold. And Doug should be very proud of what Paul has done as sort of a leader of that defense. The punt from Logan Knapp was fair caught by Cameron Burke at the 35, and that's where Oberlin will start their first series. And Tim, you said it, they got their first stop on a 3-and-out. Now that Yeoman offense needs to go to work.
That's right, and it's step by step, piece by piece when you're trying to claw back into a game and you're trying to regain momentum, and now it's about getting some first downs.
Greg Lane, the running back, and the pistol behind Drew Nye. He'll take the handoff right up the gut. Runs into a wall of maroon shirts. First to meet him was Colin Diekman, that outside linebacker, coming over with Charlie Garbowski, the other linebacker. So there's a case where the linebackers just shoot that gap and find that open crease.
Yeah, and you had Ricky Wiggins in there as well, the nose tackle. And again, this 3-3 alignment, it's just giving fits to this Oberlin line of offensive line. They're just not getting up to the second level very cleanly.
Nye to throw on 2nd and long. He'll loft it down the right sideline, incomplete, intended out there for Jordan Fishback, well covered by, looked like Dylan DeHoop.
And Dylan's been everywhere. Really good position there. He's in a man scheme, so he's man-to-man on the wide receiver number 4, Jordan Fishback, and does a great job of running with him, staying in his hip pocket, and not letting him get a clean release. When you're in man coverage, the key is to make everything difficult for that receiver, and he did just that.
DeHoop and Jair Nolan have played really well at the corners today
really
for Calvin. 3rd down and 10 from the 35. Drew Nye looks over that 3-3 defense. Out of the gun, straight back to throw. Has time, guns at right sideline. Good throw, good catch, complete for first down at the 49-yard line. It was Connor Steele on the grab in front of the cornerback. Right really there to hit him was DeHoop, but that was probably the best executed pass.
Vertical on a vertical seam route, and then quickly breaks down and turns to the outside, and that ball was immediately on the receiver the minute he turned around. Great timing by Drew Nye, getting it out of his hand, and a great conversion.
From the 48, 1st and 10, just underway here in the second half. 12:50 to go in the third quarter. 26-0. Calvin on top. In motion is Steele. Nye to throw again, flushed out, now flips it to Lane, but overshot him, incomplete. Fortunate an interception did not happen there. 2nd down and 10. Good to see KJ Harp on the sideline. Harp is another leader of that defense, injured in the first half. He has the helmet off and the jersey off, shoulders are wrapped, but looks like he's just got some ice on that left shoulder. These Kentwood freshmen are a real key cog in that defensive line rotation. 2nd down and 10 from the 49 for Drew Nye. 2 receivers out to the left, the ball at the right hash. Out of the gun. Nye will throw, he has time, steps up in the pocket, flips it short underneath, complete. Now dropped, they'll say Massimo Valite couldn't hang on there. Or did they give him the catch?
No catch.
No catch, incomplete.
Incomplete, and Drew Nye's eyes started on the right side of the field. He thought he had a matchup on the backside he liked with number 11 Evan Smith Rooks against DeHoop, the corner. Just wasn't there. He did a good job coming back to his second read, but again, the pressure was there. By the time he came off his preliminary read, he had someone in his face, and it is just difficult to be patient when you've got defensive ends in your laps all game long. Great pressure by the Calvin Knights.
Noah Funk, number 24, now in the secondary for Calvin, the South Christian alum. On 3rd and 10, Nye throws behind the intended receiver, which was Smith Rooks. Again, the leading receiver has just been shut down today by that Calvin defense. So 4th down and 10 from the 48.
He really has, and you see a little frustration there from Evan Smith Rooks. This is a big kid. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. Really has a nice looking frame there and runs good routes. Just an inaccurate ball by Nye. Threw it a little bit behind him. Timing was off. And again, the pressure from Calvin has really rattled this Oberlin offense.
4th and 10, they run out of that pistol. Colton Daniel is the setback, but he may slip back here and provide the quick kick. No, they're going to go for it. But first, a whistle and a flag, illegal procedure. And instead of 4th and 10, it'll be 4th and 15.
False start. Offense, number 61. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
What you saw here from Calvin pre-snap was what we call an Okie front. So now that 3 down rather than a 3-3 stack look, linebackers dancing in and out, disguising, showing in different gaps. As a quarterback, you're not quite sure, are they blitzing, are they not blitzing? You have to keep your eyes back on the safeties in the second level to try to diagnose what the coverage is. And again, on 4th and 10, Bob, there's just no good call for it. It's a very difficult position to be in, and now Oberlin with that miscue is going to have to punt.
From the 43, Daniel will kick to Hunter Hogan, who's retreated back to his 26. So the Yeomen pick up a 1st down, but they'll boot it away. Ooh, the rugby kick was nearly blocked. In fact, it could have been deflected. The punt, Tim, goes for about 5 yards, goes out of bounds. Actually, they'll call it the 46. So after booming a 62-yarder in the first half, Colton Daniel with a 3-yard kick there. And that one really skittered off the side of his foot. And again, Calvin with great field position to start their first drive here in the second half.
Field position, field position, field position. Take care of the football, get the ball on the other end of the field, and exactly what Calvin wants as they get started here.
Second possession for the Knights here in the second half. They were 3 and out on the first. Mishmerheisen split wide to the right. Fake the jet sweep to Hogan. A lot of room. Daylight up the middle for Chase Bradman inside the 35 to the 32. Gained 13. That play has been money here this afternoon. That fake jet sweep out of, you call it the inverted?
Inverted veer. So usually a veer is a backside read. A lot of high schools you'll see run the veer, and all that is reading a defender. This time it's to the front side, so hence the name inverted. And a great run by Chase.
On 1st and 10, Jair Harden, up the gut for another 5-yard gain.
And showing a little power. He's been a little more the scat back today, getting on the edge right there. He squared his shoulders, lowered it, and you can see him. I mean, he's just a good-looking kid. Very strong, very stout in the middle, and a really nice power run there for 5. A lot of yards after contact.
He's got it again. Tries to bounce it out to the left side. Can't get to the edge because Chickway is there for us. Good tackle at the 24. Maybe got a couple.
And Bobby saw me lean back in my chair because the cut was inside. He just didn't quite see it. That's a counter play. So they pulled the guard and tackle at the same time, a little misdirection. And he had an inside cut. He chose to bounce it, and I think he would have had the 1st down. But 3rd and 3 here, still very manageable situation.
Oberlin shows pressure, now backs off. Bradman back to throw to the corner of the end zone at the goal line for Mishmerheisen. Well covered by Ari Smith. Over his head, incomplete. Sets up 4th down and 3 at the 24.
Within field goal range. It's interesting call here. I thought they might go for it, but they've been picking on Ari a little bit, as you said. He played that ball well.
Sal Ruffino. The wind is still pretty stiff at his back, so he's got a shot. He had it from this distance early in the game and pulled it just to the left. Had the distance, though. Kicked a field goal at the other end in the second quarter. Snap is good. Bradman got it down. The kick is well on its way, and it's good. Sal Ruffino drills it with yards to spare. He could have been good from 50 there. And the Knights strike again. The second field goal of the game for Sal Ruffino. It's 29-0. Calvin on top.
Really liked it going back to your kicker. He missed one on that end early. Said, hey, I got the confidence in you. I believe in you. Let's do it again. And Sal really popped it through. He struck that one well. Definitely, like you said, good from 50 to 52. And a solid drive to start the third quarter.
If you have not stopped by Calvin's campus recently, you want to do that this fall. A new soccer stadium, track and field complex, and state-of-the-art football building highlight the outdoor athletics improvements. The beautiful Commons Room provides incredible gathering space for students, and new media production spaces and a cadaver lab and virtual nursing simulation lab are among the classroom upgrades to highlight. Check out all the ways Calvin's building up the student experience on your next visit to campus. Today's third quarter is brought to you by Skipper & Osterink Wealth Management, providing personal financial plans tailored to your goals and lifestyles.
You know, Bob, as we get ready for kickoff, I'm kind of looking over some of my pregame notes and things that Trent talked to us about leading into the game. And it doesn't always go this way, but virtually everything he has talked about has gone according to plan. And got to be impressed with this young team getting off to a hot start.
Evan Raymond sends Burke back to the goal line. Out of bounds for a touchback. It'll be 1st and 10 for Oberlin at the 25.
And Raymond's really impressed us. He talked about his leg as a kickoff specialist, said he needed to work on accuracy, but he looks pretty accurate to me today. He's placed the ball between the numbers and the sideline multiple times, and a great kick there into the end zone.
Tim, in that special teams kickoff scheme, how critical or how beneficial is it to drive that ball as far to the sideline as you can?
It's a field position controlling play, so anytime you can get a touchback, that ball's going to go only to the 25, and that's a great way to set your defense up. The other thing that he's done well is if you're not going to drive it to the end zone, placing it in those, you know, so-called coffin corners. It's tough to set up your wedge and your blocking scheme when your guys have to retreat that far, and he's done a nice job just keeping it in bounds and not getting penalties by kicking it out.
3 receivers to the right on 1st and 10 from the 25 for Oberlin. And the handoff is to Colton Daniel, and he is stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. Boy, there's been nothing up the gut on that defense all afternoon.
Nothing there, and Trent Figg talked to us this week about what he called slanting and angling, and what that means is your defensive linemen are moving either a gap to their right or a gap to their left, and right here you have what's called a slant, a gap to their right against the front, and the Oberlin offensive line just got their double team split, and it's a great play by the nose tackle.
Austin Fennick, the aforementioned nose tackle, number 55, clogging up that middle. The freshman from Forest Hills Eastern, Jaden Lewis, 99, the right tackle, also a good one as well. He's from Spring, Texas. 2nd down and 9. Lane's got it this time. Works the left side. Slammed to the turf at the 28.
Yeah, and so here you have a little bit of a stretch concept where Oberlin's trying to get out on the edge. And what they did well is their left tackle, left guard got a nice double team on the defensive end, 99, but then that allowed Carson Schnurstein to run free, and no one got up to him. No lineman could get a hat on him, and he makes the play. And that's what's effective about this 3-man front with so many stunts, slanting and angling both ways, is it's just very difficult for an offensive line to get up to the next level. And these linebackers have made plays all afternoon.
3rd and 7 from the 28. For Drew Nye, 2 receivers out to the right, 2 to the left. Out of the gun, he has time, throws deep over the middle, and airmails that one, intended for Raphael Green Arnone, incomplete. And another 3 and out for the Oberlin offense, sends in the punt team.
Probably some of the better protection Drew Nye has had today. Calvin brought a field pressure. They brought the Sam and Mike linebacker, that's the strong side and middle backer, to the field, and he had the time to still get the pass off, but great coverage in the back end. Vanderplug is over the top. And I'll tell you, Jair Nolan has been excellent at corner. Very physical. He's a big corner here on the field side, or I'm sorry, on the boundary side, number 1. And I've just been very impressed with the corners. You know, Trent talked about them in the pregame. You know, him and Dylan DeHoop are going to be great. He said after that there's a little fall off in depth. We're young, but man, these guys have not disappointed. They've exceeded my expectations.
Colton Daniel sends a low end over end kick that is caught by a diving Hunter Hogan, dangerous grab. But you know what? That shows his athleticism, doesn't it?
Oh man, that shows his athleticism.
Dive, and he hauled it in.
You have to be a little bit crazy, Bob, to be a punt returner. I'm telling you, it's one of the toughest jobs in football, and it's actually a very heads-up play. If he's not going to touch that ball, he's got to let it go. He said, "I can get to it. I'm going to secure the football." And if that punt rolls 15 yards, now we're back on our own 35. The ball's right on the 50. That's a field position changing play, and very heads up by Hunter Hogan.
Love to see that aggressiveness by the kick returner. By the way, that last drive resulting in the Ruffino field goal was 5 plays 21 yards, covering a minute 28. On 1st and 10, Bradman's got Mishmer-Heisman open down the right sideline, but just overshot him at the 25-yard line.
We might have a defensive holding call here on the corner, or it could be the safety over the top. So what you had here was a play action with a hitch and go. Mishmer-Heisman showed the 5-yard hitch. He stuttered.
Pass interference. Defense. Number
call, the reason being the ball was in the air, so hence it was an interference call. Good call by the official, but that hitch and go, really a nice route by Mishmer-Heisman. He sold it well, hunkered down like he was coming back to the football, and then ran by the corner, and probably preventing a bigger play by grabbing a piece of his jersey.
So penalty moves it to the 35, 1st and 10 from the 35. Play action to Cook. Bradman rolls to his right, guns it right sideline to Mishmer-Heisman down at the 15. A diving attempt, but incomplete. Daniel was there, so was Nathaniel Castro to knock it away. Good coverage, bracketing Luke Mishmer-Heisman.
Really was good coverage, and this is something you work on in practice. You call it the scramble drill. The play breaks down, and you want to have receivers with good spacing at different levels. So Mishmer-Heisman was actually on a seam route. He was headed deep, saw Bradman scramble, came back to the football nicely, and it was really a good throw by Chase, just didn't quite haul it in.
2nd and 10, straight drop now, flicks it over the middle to Cook, sending the running back out for reception there at the 28. Dropped immediately by Brandon Hall. Gain of 7, sets up 3rd down and 3. First time we've seen one of the running backs out of the backfield.
Yeah, and they call it yak, yards after catch, and man, he got a few there. Great effort after contact.
Cook's got it again, attempting to get the 1st down, hammered there at the line of scrimmage by Hughes and also Joey Draper. Just shy of the 1st down, 4th and 1 from the 26, and we test the leg of Sal Rufino again, or go for it? Looks like
an attitude play here. We're going to get up in there, quarterback sneak, and pound it.
Bradman on the QB sneak. I don't know that he got it. It's going to be really close. He lunged at the last second. Both teams claiming that they have made the necessary play to have the football, and it's all a matter of the spot on this one.
Yeah, a little too close for comfort, but I think he got it. When you're a quarterback sneaking the ball like that.
He did?
Boy.
I thought he did too, Tim. I thought that last lunge got it over. They'll say Chase Bradman was stifled right there at the line of scrimmage, and Oberlin with another stop takes over on downs.
You know, contrary to what people think, when you run the quarterback sneak, you actually don't want to immediately jam in there. You want to take one step back, kind of eyeball the soft spot in the A or B gaps, one small step back, and then press right behind on the hip of that offensive lineman and never stop running your feet. And right there, you know, Chase's knee kind of went down quickly. He kind of lunged rather than running those feet, and maybe a questionable spot, but we didn't quite get there.
Did you ever break one on a quarterback sneak?
Oh, break one? You know how slow I am, Bob? Maybe a couple, but you know, I was tall, so just stretch it out, right? Get the yard.
On 1st and 10, Nye, play action, plenty of time, still in the pocket, now just wheels it out of bounds along the right sideline, intended, and thrown over the head of Evan Smith-Rooks.
And this is all coverage, yeah. This is them trying to pick on number 1, Jair, down here, and man, he had great coverage. They tried to run a post route over the top. He did a good job of staying in the hip pocket of the receiver and just no separation whatsoever. Great coverage. And again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, these corners today have been very impressive. They're big, they're physical, and they've done a great job causing havoc for Drew Nye and his receiving corps.
Nye is now 8 for 23 for just 70 yards. 34% completion percentage. 2nd and 10. Here's a little flea flicker. Lane pitches it back to Nye. He'll throw it deep down the sideline. Right there for the coverage is Noah Funk. A flag comes in, and I thought he had pretty good coverage, Tim. The pass intended for Rooks.
Yeah, this is an underthrown ball, so one of the toughest positions in the world to be in as a defensive back, whether you're a corner or safety, is when there's an underthrown ball and you don't see it clearly, but the receiver does before you. Here the ball is underthrown by Nye. It didn't come out of his hand very cleanly. It was a wobbler, and as Smith-Rooks came back.
Defense, number 24, 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic 1st down.
Yeah, as he came back for the football, Noah Funk did not have a very clear eye on the ball, and so some contact, and if you don't look back, you're probably going to get that call.
Correction, that was the receiver, intended receiver was Rafael Green Arnone, the sophomore. So 1st down via the penalty at the 40-yard line for Oberlin. 7:57 to go in the 3rd, 29-0 Calvin. Trevor Martin's the linebacker, 37, showing blitz.
Got a blitz look here. 3 linebackers mugged up. They probably won't all blitz, but it's confusing for Drew Nye to identify who is and who isn't coming. And just like that, there's a sack. Very nice pressure.
Nye dumped back at the 36.
You know, one thing Trent said at halftime I thought was very astute. He said, we tell our guys, Knights don't beat Knights, right? A coach I played for said, the only thing that can stop us is us. And what you don't want to have is those drive-stopping penalties, and that pass interference gave them a new set of downs. Great response from the adversity by bringing a pressure, getting a sack, and now 2nd and 15. Oberlin is back behind the chains again.
Look for Isaiah Hill off that right tackle spot to try to get pressure here on 2nd and 14. Here he comes. They bust through on the screen. Oh, now it's the reverse, and it's totally... they fumbled the football. Noah Funk picked it up, and he'll sprint to the end zone for a touchdown. How about that? Very creative little screen pass that was in Wells. The ball was coughed up by Oberlin. Noah Funk alertly grabbed it on the opportunistic hop and raced into the end zone from 30-some yards out for the score.
And honestly, I don't mind the call. If you're John Pont, you're just trying to do anything you can at this point to get momentum. It was executed fairly well. It just dropped the toss. It looked like there was a gap for 10 to 12 yards at least. Just didn't execute it, muffed the pitch back, and great play by Noah Funk. Penalties and turnovers are costly. Calvin is winning the turnover battle, not just by a little bit, but 4-0, and just an incredible finish to that drive.
Sal Rufino on for the extra point. Pounds it through, and it's 36-0 with 7 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. Today's Calvin Women's Sports Report, presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union, highlights Calvin's women's volleyball program. Picked it up and he'll sprint to the end. The 2016 Calvin women's volleyball team had a memorable year, finishing 33-1 while capturing the MIAA regular season title. Under head coach Amber Warners, the Knights continue to capture their 3rd national title in 7 years later that fall. Amber Warners continues to lead the Calvin Knights volleyball team into this 2024 season. In action today, matter of fact, over at the Van Noort Arena. Calvin Knights volleyball just year in, year out. Powerhouse in NCAA Division III. That's today's Calvin Women's Sports Report flashback, presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union, where our members really like earning more when they save and paying less when they borrow.
You know, we just mentioned turnovers, right? Drew Nye, 3 interceptions. That fumble for a touchdown is just, man, almost, you hate to say a nail in the coffin because there's a lot of time left, but just a demoralizing play. And then you have the kickoff earlier. I mean, really 5 turnovers. It's awfully hard to win when you don't take care of the football.
Evan Raymond sends this kickoff high, end over end of the goal line. Grabbed there. And I thought they did.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't blow it dead right away.
Catch.
Correct. Once you wave your hand like that, if you field and possess the ball, even on the bounce, that play is dead, and the fair catch will spot it back there. I got to be honest, I'm not 100% sure on the rule. If the fair catch is inside the 25, if you take it at the 25 or at the spot of the possession. So we'll see where the officials spot this ball.
The ball was recovered in the end zone for a touchback. Okay. First down, Oberlin.
Yeah, so you have the fair catch signal. The ball went into the end zone. He fielded it in the end zone. That's the reasoning for the call. Trent Figg doesn't like it. He's asking for a bit of an explanation because he bobbled the ball.
So Calvin lines up defensively. Braylon Cox on that left defensive end with Jaden Lewis. Now in at nose guard, replacing Fennick, is Richard Wiggins, the 4th. The freshman from Fruitport. On 1st and 10, Nye will give to Greg Lane. Runs into traffic right at the line of scrimmage. Dropped by several Knights, led by Braylon Cox.
And you see Trent Figg here, you know, getting some substitutions in the game. This is a great opportunity to see some of your young talent, give them some reps on defense where they maybe would be more in a special teams position. And you also saw on that particular play, Caden Bolduc getting involved. He's been active on special teams and having a nice game there. He's in at that Knight Rover position that Hayden Hunter has been in on. And getting in on a tackle, running to the football.
Yeah, I like the mix right now, Tim, of starters and reserves.
That's right.
You're going to need those combinations throughout the year. Nye back to throw again. Nobody open, so he lofts it out of bounds, threw it over the head of Greg Lane. Good coverage by Schnurstein. Boy, he's played a good game in linebacker.
He really has. He's been all over the field, and this is, almost as good as a coverage sack. There's just nothing open. The Yeoman getting no separation from the Calvin defensive secondary whatsoever. Had to throw it away, and now you're in a 3rd and long.
From the 25, 6:18 to play, 36-0. Calvin on top. They've scored in all ways today. Defensive safety, fumble, scoop, and score. 3 touchdown passes, a couple of field goals. I think they call that complimentary football.
That's right, and it wins a lot of games if you can maintain it. Here you see that Okie look again, 3 linebackers mugged up. They bluff out, no pressure coming.
Now he has time. Now he's flushed out with nobody open. He'll scramble to his left, angles toward the left sideline, dragged down right at the first down marker by Schnurstein, but I think he may have enough to move the chains. Good awareness by Drew Nye.
Really a nice play by Nye. He escapes the pocket, steps up into the middle of the pocket with his eyes downfield, and then decides to take off and run. And a good improv play by him. One of the things that is great for Calvin, very problematic for Oberlin, is Calvin dropped 8 and only rushed 3, and they still got to the quarterback. That's a problem if you can't protect 3 with 5. And Drew Nye made something happen, but definitely what Calvin wants to see, getting pressure with only a 3-man rush.
And I like on that play, Tim, Carson Schnurstein again coming from the short side of the field all the way over to the opposite sideline to chase down the running back.
That's what we talked about in the pregame, that physicality, and a great example of effort and heart right there.
Play action, Nye rolls to his right, dumps it off underneath to the receiver. That's Lance Stone, or rather, yes, Lance Sloan into the game.
And Caden Bolduc
from Kentucky.
Yeah, and Caden Bolduc with another tackle. He's been very active on special teams, and fun to see his range here at that. Tackles, coming down, tackling a bigger tight end. Very nice play.
Heavy pistol to the left now on 2nd and 7 from the 38-yard line. Ball at the right hash. Inside of 5 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. Lane takes the handoff, tries to scoot to the right. He is met by a wall of maroon shirts again. It was number 91. First to meet him, that's Marcus Brucker from Unity Christian. Heavy dose of Unity Christian and South Christian, Holland Christian players on this roster. Trent Figg's done a marvelous job recruiting West Michigan in these 2 years. And
he really has, and kind of a neat storyline, like I think of a couple of these Grand Rapids Christian kids. Jude Klunder a year ago was playing on this field as a Grand Rapids Christian Eagle, and today he has a couple great catches. Pretty neat to be able to do that and come full circle as a collegiate football player.
3rd and 6 from the 39 for Nye. Again, 2 setbacks. He'll drop straight back to throw, flushed out to the right. Again, just lofts it out of bounds to save another play. And really, I think you said it from the very beginning, Tim, just how much this 3-3 defense has confounded Oberlin. And now we saw it in the first half on the run game. Calvin really stifled the run game. Now we're seeing it in the passing game. There's just nobody open.
Well, there's 5 defensive backs in the field. Now, the Rover player, that Knight player that we've talked about many times today, is really a quarterback spy, but he can be a pass cover guy as well. And it's a difficult scheme. When I was in college at Western Michigan University, we played West Virginia in the Rich Rodriguez days, and they ran a 3-3-5. And you can do a lot of trickeration, if you will, rolling safeties, blitzing, slanting, angling. It definitely gives you confidence as a defensive player that you can get home to the quarterback and create confusion for the offense.
The punt by Daniel rolls dead at the 26. That's where Calvin will take over 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. If you are coming to Grand Rapids for a Calvin home game this year or any other university event, your home for accommodation is the Hilton Garden Inn on East Beltline, just 1 mile south of campus. Great place to stop as well for pregame or postgame meal at Big E's. That's the Hilton Garden Inn on Beltline. 1st and 10 for Chase Bradman from the 26-yard line. He'll fake to Harden, roll to his right, avoids the rush, now flings it right sideline at the 34. He's got Mishmerheisen right at the boundary, complete for an 8-yard gain. Nice presence there by Chase Bradman.
The strength of Chase Bradman. You talk about ball security. He's got 2 hands on that ball. The Oberlin defender gets a hand on him, and he rips it away, keeps it secure, doesn't fumble, and then steps him in the pocket, delivers a strike to Mishmerheisen. Great play.
8-yard gain on 2nd and 2. Harden takes the handoff from Bradman, eludes a couple of tacklers, struggles to get back to the line, and then lunges along the right sideline for a first down.
We talked about Harden. He's a graduate transfer, right? He's a veteran player, a lot of experience, 5'7", 200, that low center of gravity, that strength of the legs, and what a stiff arm there. Yards after contact, very impressive by all the Calvin backs today.
Hunter Green, the co-captain, made the tackle there on 1st and 10. Harden again, right up the middle, now bounces it to the outside. He's loose along the right sideline to the 30, the 25, and finally run out of bounds inside the 20. Jair Harden with some quick feet at the line of scrimmage to find the hole to the right and burst his way for a big gainer.
Tremendous cut, and I think everybody's heard this name before. Hunter Hogan. Hunter Hogan out in front, blocking downfield. What an effort play. Throws his body in front of the safety. Helps pick up a few more yards. Love the heart, love the effort, even when you're going both ways, blocking downfield. Very impressive.
47-yard scamper by Harden. Sets up Calvin in the red zone.
False start. Offense. Number 69. 5-yard penalty. First down.
He'll get pushed back 5 yards on that false start.
Yeah, and that's one of those plays, you know, Trent Figg has high expectations, even out of a young team. He's calling them higher, and you just can't have those procedure penalties. Yes, they're young, but it takes no talent. It takes no effort other than focus to avoid a false start. Got to clean that up.
From the 22, 1st and 15. Empty set now for Bradman. Back to throw. Checks down to Bilesma on the left flat. He's got it at the 19, slung down immediately by Dylan Marshall. Picked up 3. First time we've seen the empty look.
Yeah, that's right. 5 wides, no running backs in the game, a new formation for Calvin to show and get a look at. And that's a long throw, that flat route to the field, and you see the arm of Bradman. He can really sling it.
On 2nd and 13, quick pass left side to Ritzma. Finally connects with the South Christian freshman. Got a couple as he struggled back to the original line of scrimmage. Sets up 3rd and 10 with 1:40 to go here in the 3rd quarter.
Little tunnel screen concept here. So Bilesma motions across, and then the tight end actually goes all the way out and blocks the corner. They try to slip Ritzma behind it. Really nicely defended by Oberlin.
Bradman out of the gun. He'll roll to his right. A lot of room. He's going to tuck it and go to the 15. Upended right there at the 14 along the sideline by Marshall again. Shy of the first down, and that'll bring on another field goal attempt for Sal Rufino. They'll mark him out at the 14-yard line.
Yeah, we talked earlier about that concept of a quarterback making a profit every snap. Sometimes the best play to make is simply throwing it out of bounds, maybe taking a sack, throwing it away. In this case, it was pull it down, and yes, it's only a 3 or 4 yard gain, but it beats forcing the ball, beats making a turn. Being at Indiana Wesleyan before Calvin.
Rufino on for a 31-yard attempt. He's 2 for 3 today. Oh, the snap is low, or is it a fake? Bradman finds Paul Bauma on the right sideline for a first down. All right, Tim Hiller, was that a bad snap that Chase Bradman just corralled and rolled out, or was that a design fake?
That's a great question. I think it was a design. So, you know, he popped up pretty quickly. You also had the tight end quickly released. Typically, if you muff a snap, you yell fire, fire, something to tell your guys to go downfield. Looked like it was designed. What did Chase call himself in the pregame?
The self-proclaimed All-American
holder. I mean, crown him. I don't know. Crown him. That's a pretty nice play.
Paul Bauma the 4th with a reception, one of the many tight ends that Trent Figg likes to use. Now Bradman play action. He'll roll left, lofted to the right, left corner of the end zone, intended for Ritzma. Good coverage out there by Jordan Fishback. He was well covered Ritzma, incomplete pass.
I'll tell you what, this is an incomplete, you know, we'll move on from this play. It'll be listed as an incompletion in the stat book, but that was a great throw. Rolling left with a guy in your face to turn your shoulders and throw it in the back corner accurately. That's a great throw by Chase Bradman. Gave his guy a chance, just didn't quite come together, but heck of an effort by the senior quarterback.
Chase now 17 of 29 for 169. And 3 touchdowns. Pretty good stat line for his first game.
He really has. He's gotten in a rhythm. A little bit of a slow start, but he's gotten in a rhythm. He's been efficient. And again, I'm impressed by his ability to make wise choices with the football. He hasn't forced anything. Been very smart with his legs and throwing the ball away.
Hogan in motion right to left. And a whistle pre-snap.
Just snapped it before the ready for play. No penalty
here. There is
no
play. Reset. Second down.
Second down and goal to go at the 5-yard line.
The interesting test here as you head to the fourth quarter, you're going to sub some guys, but your offensive line needs to build stamina. They need to build endurance. They need to be ready to play a 4-quarter college game. Remember, these are young guys, haven't had a lot of experience. They need to build up that endurance of playing all 4 quarters to the finish.
Bradman gives to Jackson Cook, who slants over the left side. Got a couple. Met there by Abraham Cromartie. And that should be the last play of the third quarter. We go to the fourth. Calvin up 36-0 over Oberlin and looking for more in the red zone. You are watching Calvin Knights football on WXSP and MichiganSportsRadio.com. All right, back at Grand Rapids Christian, Calvin up 36-0, facing 3rd and goal at the Oberlin 4-yard line as they look to expand this lead even further. Chase Bradman with Jackson Cook to his right. 2 receivers to the left, back to throw, looks right now, flips it into the end zone. He's got a wide open Jackson Cook for the touchdown.
I really like this call.
Slipped out of the backfield after
Absolutely.
lined up to the right of Bradman and was wide open.
Really great call by Ben Dixon. Drew this one up nicely. Typically in the red zone, everything is condensed, and so the defense wants to bring pressure. Linebackers are in the box, and in this case, you have a matchup problem. You have the weak side linebacker trying to cover a running back out of the backfield. He gets lost in the crossing routes in the box, and wide open in the end zone. Easy pitch and catch, easy touchdown. Well-designed play by Ben Dixon, the offensive coordinator.
Ruffino on for the extra point. He has been perfect today, and he continues that. 43-0 as we start the fourth quarter.
Great job finishing the drive. One of the things I like in the red zone that I've seen throughout the day is a commitment to the running game. The Calvin Knights have not been afraid to commit to running the football, sticking with it, and they've really done a nice job. Their backs and the combination of 22 Jackson Cook, you've seen Ronan Russell Dixon a little bit, and then number 0 Jair Harden. It's really a fun backfield to watch. They've made a lot of plays, and neat to see them being so well balanced at this early stage in the season.
That scoring drive presented by Paris Motors covered well, let's see. Get that. So it's a touchdown pass to Cook. That is the 4th touchdown pass of the day by Chase Bradman. 4-yard touchdown pass. And for the Knights, gives them a 43-0 lead. Find your next drive. Grand Rapids. Kickoff by Raymond. Caught at the 14 by C.J. Cooper. He weaves his way out to the 31. Special teams tackle made by Preston Sellers for Calvin.
So one of the things we'll keep an eye on here as we see kind of that mix of veteran players, guys who've been starting or getting a lot of repetitions, and then some new guys, some new faces getting opportunities. Is, you know, you can't manufacture game experience, but some new guys in the secondary. The secondary has been so impressive, but Trent Figg did tell us, hey, there's a little bit of a drop-off between our starting corners and our backups, our starting safeties and our backups. Great opportunity here to get some real live game experience for Aiden Branoff, Brady Jacobs, and some of these other backup corners that are going to need to be game ready and battle tested.
Drew Nye gives it to C.J. Cooper, who remains in the game at running back for Greg Lane. Tries to work the left side, can't get to the edge though, and is dropped for no gain. Noah Funk, who had that scoop and score over to make the stop.
He's really had himself a nice second half. Noah Funk's been in the mix, making plays on the football, and then Brady Jacobs, the new corner, coming in on the far side, getting involved. Good to see.
Freshman who played here originally at Grand Rapids Christian and then transferred to South Christian to finish his high school career. So this field very familiar to him as well. Second down and 10 from the 32 for Drew Nye. Out of the gun, has time. Now he's going to tuck it and go right up the middle. Dragged down by Jaden Lewis right at the 33, maybe picked up a yard. 75 total yards today for Oberlin. That is an impressive defensive effort. And you know, this is a team we've talked about. Let's be candid here, Tim. We've talked about how they've struggled as a program over the years, but you look at the stats of their last game, their last season game. Yeah, they were beaten in all but one of the games, but I'm not sure they were held to 74 yards heading into the fourth quarter. I'd have to go back and look at those stats, but they did muster up more offense in most of those games. So
yeah, and you had some players getting involved. I mean, like Evan Smith Rooks, number 11, for example, 6'4", 230-pound receiver, just hasn't even had a catch today, I don't believe. He's been hard to get him touches. Drew Nye has been pressured all game long. It's been really tough sledding for the Oberlin Yeomen.
Nice job by Nye there, improvising on 3rd and long, was able to scramble, buy some time, and find Jacob Epps, the junior from Chicago, as a secondary receiver. He caught it, and
really a nice throw there by Nye, and a difficult throw. He's under pressure. He's moving laterally to his left, and as a right-handed quarterback, that is a difficult check down. Does a nice job of exuding poise, checking it down to his running back, and a nice play. First down.
Epps finds first down at the 43. Now into the game at running back is Jake Hughes, also plays linebacker. He'll be on the receiving end of that short pass from Nye on 1st and 10. Caught on a quick curl route at the 47, gain 5. 2nd and 5 at the 47.
One of the difficult things here finishing the game in these last 12 minutes for Oberlin is Calvin is playing a lot of their base defense. So they're in that 3-3-5, but they're with a lead, don't have to bring pressure. And so at times dropping 7 or 8 defenders, especially 8. I mean, it's just difficult to throw the ball when you drop 8, and not many spaces out there for Nye. Good job just fitting it in a tight window.
Hey, are you good with Panther? Yeah.
On 2nd and 5, play action. Nye rolls to his right, looks downfield. Everyone covered, so he'll keep and go inside the 45 to the 44. Stepped out of bounds there. And he's got another first down.
Great coverage in the back end by Calvin. Even with this second group in, very disciplined. Everybody's in their zones. Played a little bit of a cover 2 look there. Corner sat in the flat. Nothing was really open, and Nye did what he did what he's done best when he's had the time, taking what the defense gave him, and nice run with his feet there to get the first down. You know, if you're John Pont, you just want to see heart and effort. No quit, effort to the end, and you are getting that from Drew Nye and some of his teammates here.
1st and 10 from the 43. 11:20 to play here in the fourth quarter. Nye with time, throws it right sideline, complete to Evan Rooks. Evan Smith Rooks with his first catch of the day. Let me verify that. I'm pretty sure that is the story on Rooks.
And he was their leading returning receiver, really a tall kid, a big target, can obviously go up and take the football from people, but he just hasn't been able to get in space. As we talked about earlier, in this 3-3-5 scheme, he's had a outside linebacker, a safety over him, bracket coverage, just been difficult to get him the football.
Indeed, that is his first catch. 45 grabs last year, nearly 400 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Good receiver, but Calvin has just wrapped him up today. 1st and 10 now from the 28 for the Yeomen. Nye to throw, a lot of time. Steps up in the pocket. Here comes a rush. Martins has got him and dumps him back at the 34. They'll say he got rid of the football just in time. Trevor Martins with some good pressure from that middle linebacker spot.
Yeah, and Drew Nye just taking a little bit of a beating. He really took a shot there, very slow to get up. Glad he's okay, but he's been hit a lot today, and you see the flag come in late. That's going to be intentional grounding. There's just no receiver in the vicinity. The ball probably made it past the line of scrimmage. It was awfully close, but
intentional grounding. Offense, number 8. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. 2nd down.
And a costly penalty to have lost it down. Not what you need in that situation when you're finally getting a drive going.
Tim, you made an interesting point earlier in the week, just as we talked about the roster for Oberlin. obviously you're an Ohio guy, born and raised in Ohio, played high school football down there, and Oberlin just outside of Cleveland, and yet very few players from the state of Ohio on their roster.
Yeah, Oberlin is kind of a generational school where there's lots of, if there's family connections or different, a unique alumni network. And so they are very national, but Ohio's such a hotbed of football talent. I really was surprised to see less than 5 players on the roster from Ohio.
Nye back to throw again. He'll scamper away from Mertens now, races towards the left sideline, back to the original line of scrimmage and then some. Ushered out of bounds at the 26-yard line by Bo Gnap.
Drew Nye's a competitor. There's no doubt about that. I think, has it gone the way he's wanted? Absolutely not. Anything but that. But the heart and guts there, after taking a big hit, you're slow to get up, you have a penalty, and then you just step up in the pocket, you keep fighting, you have a big run. You can tell he's hurting a little bit out there, but man, the fight and grit are there, and you can't dispute his character. It's good to see.
Big part of John Pont's job, just to keep the morale focused and the morale up of these Oberlin Yeomen. 3rd down and 8 from the 26. Back to throw is Nye. Slings it left flat to Cooper. Not Ritzman, but Brady Jacobs was there on the coverage. The ball was thrown to the outside. I think Cooper went to the inside, incomplete, 4th down and 8.
Yeah, and I like this situational call from Josh Lawson. It's 3rd and 6. You're playing to win. You're already ahead, but let's get some repetition. They played cover 0. Cover 0 means there is 0 safety, and so it was an all-out pressure, bringing 7 guys. And as you saw right there, Nye had no time to throw. He tried to get rid of it early, but no one home, and just a tough situation being as a quarterback when you've got that all-out blitz in your face.
Yeoman will go for it here on 4th down and 8 from the 26. Nye straight back to throw, has time, lofts it to Rooks. He's got it down at the 6-yard line, just outside the numbers.
I kissed your grandma.
Good throw by Drew Nye, and Evan Rooks Smith with his longest reception of the day.
That was really a nice catch.
This is Calvin football.
Kind of a scissor route there. So you have a post and then a corner coming underneath it. The post took the safety away. Rooks Smith did a good job. Rooks, I apologize, came underneath and did a nice job coming out of it. And you can see that tall 6'4" frame went up for the ball. Nice throw by Nye and a 1st down.
Good time to tell you some score updates from around the MIAA, presented by NAI Wasinski of West Michigan. NAI Wasinski of West Michigan, providing all facets of commercial real estate services. Probably the marquee game in the league today is Wisconsin River Falls and Alma, and it was a dandy. River Falls 41-35 over Alma. And Wisconsin Stevens Point and Albion hooked up in a good one as well. Albion wins at 24-20 in the 4th quarter. Hope is shutting out Loris 49-0. Christopher Newport all over Trine 42-6. That's in the 4th quarter. Rochester of New York down to Olivet 28-21. That's a final. Kalamazoo and Austin in the 4th quarter 23-10. Kalamazoo up. A chance to see all of those MIAA teams this year.
It'd be interesting to see if we see a fade ball here at some point in the corner to Evan Smith Rooks. He's 6'4", got a smaller corner on him. See if they play a little bit of matchup football. Changing the play here at the line of scrimmage on 1st and goal.
Cooper, the setback behind Nye. They run option right. Nye fakes and then tucks it and cuts it up the field toward the 1-yard line. Good call there and a good run by Drew Nye. Picked up 4. 2nd and goal at the 1 with 9 minutes to play in the 4th quarter.
Really a nice call on the speed option. One of the things that they've tried to do with him a couple times, they ran that to the field. Now they run it to the boundary. So he's trying to pitch off an overhang player. Good little pump fake on the pitch, ducked it inside, down to the 1.
From the 1. Colton Daniels, the running back in the pistol. They spread the field with 2 receivers to the right and 2 to the left. Crowd exhorting the Calvin defense for another stop here. Daniels got the handoff, and he's hit right at the 1-yard line, then coughed up the ball, but they say he will be down. How about that?
What a hit.
Great tackle to literally cut him down when I thought he was going to lunge into the end zone.
I believe it was Mertens 37, that Mike Backer. He has had a heck of a game. These Mike Backers, when Garbowski's been in the middle, number 10, or Mertens, they're big, physical, downhill guys. And again, I feel like I've said it 100 times today, Bob, but the 3-3 scheme protects your Mike Backer. It's hard to get up on him. He had a free run. The guard never blocked him, and what a hit, jarring the ball free.
3rd and goal at the 1 for Oberlin. Calvin looking for the shutout here in their first game ever. Needs a stop. And John Pont going to call a timeout. He wants to
Charge
push this one in.
timeout. Oberlin, their first of the half.
Calvin University's graduate programming is expanding again this fall with the addition of a Master of Science in Nursing program. Calvin now offers 12 master's degrees and 10 certificate options for adult learners. So whether you are looking to go part-time or full-time, online or in person, Calvin's got you covered. Discover more at calvin.edu. Planning that seeks to deliver the retirement outcomes you deserve. So the shutout in peril right now for the Knights. Who would have ever thought we would say that deep into the fourth quarter of the first game ever? How about that?
A goose egg in the first game ever, man. If I'm defensive coordinator Josh Lawson, I'm craving that. So we'll see if they bring some pressure here. If I'm John Pont, this is a huge play. You're going to get off to 0. Big victory for your team to get some points.
Stadium rocking here on 3rd and goal at the 1. Now he's going to try to throw for it. Goes to the end zone. It's intercepted. Caden Kolanowski picked it off. A flag is thrown. Kolanowski streaking down to the left sideline to the 50, to the 40. Still on his feet at the 30, to the 20. He's going to go all the way to the house for a pick 6. But hold on, there's a flag way back in the end zone. And Tim, I don't know if they're going to get a defensive push-off there by Kolanowski.
This is going to be a really interesting call. Oh my goodness, what a play by Kolanowski. Even if this doesn't stand, what an effort and what commitment to physical football. I mean, Trent Figg said this at the outset. When you play Calvin, you're going to know you played Calvin, and the blocking downfield from his teammates was absolutely incredible. Great job springing him on that run. This is a well-designed play by John Pont. Unfortunately, it's the theme of the game, pressure in the face of Drew Nye, and he just didn't throw an accurate ball. He threw it falling away off his back foot, had a guy hitting him in the face. It was a corner route. He tried to throw it to the much taller Evan Smith.
There is no
Rooks.
score on the play. Pass interference. Defense, number 11. Half the distance to the goal. To place the ball on the 1.5 yard line. Automatic first down.
The PI was actually called off the throw.
Yes, it was. And so what you had here was I like the design. They motioned the tailback out of the backfield 25, brought him underneath on a drag route, and then you had the taller Smith Rooks coming on that corner route. As we talked about earlier, all day he's been under fire. Drew Nye with pressure in his face, throws an inaccurate ball, leaves it inside, and a great play on the back end. Caden Kolanowski goes up, high points it. What a return. You can't take it away from him. That was a great play. Unfortunately, the PI brings it back. The bad thing about the PI that's disappointing here, if you're defensive coordinator Josh Lawson, is it's an automatic first down. So now you got 4 cracks at it from the half-yard line. Tough spot for the Calvin defense, but let's see what they do.
And the crowd rising to their feet. They got to stop him 4 times now. Let's see if they can do it. Colton Daniels, the running back, in the pistol behind Drew Nye. Woznicki in motion right to left. Now sets in the right slot to give us to Daniel. He's hit behind the line, and then Braylon Cox got him first. He had knifed through from that left side, and then cleaning up on it was Bo Gnop.
Nice play by Gnop. Very physical player. Came downhill hard. Again, I feel like a broken record, Bob, but these linemen for the Yeomen, the guards and tackles, in this zone scheme, they've got to get up on a linebacker, and they're just not doing it. They're not getting to the second level, and these linebackers are cleaning it up in the backfield on a big loss there.
2nd and goal at the 1-yard line. Strong pistol to the left. Nye will fake that way. Now roll to his right. On the run, he finds a wide open Evan Smith Rooks into the end zone for the touchdown. A little route just in front of Caden Kolanowski, and the Oberlin Yeomen are on the board.
There was definitely some pushing and shoving there. You know, Kolanowski wanted a penalty, but 11 Smith Rooks, he's a good player, leading receiver last year. He's a big physical kid at 6'4", 230, and he just kind of won the matchup one-on-one. And
remember that is
good play by Drew Nye, seeing it, keeping his eyes up, extending the play, and making a throw. And you know, for Drew Nye, you got to be happy for him. That kid he's worked hard today. He's had a tough day. He's been on his back a lot, just getting hit by pressure after pressure after pressure. And for him to persevere, I think speaks a lot to his character. And for the Calvin defense, still 43-7. Really a great effort today by this young team and this young defense. I stand corrected, 43-6, the extra point no good. Great effort by the special teams there, the Knights, to get some pressure on the kicker.
Wes Penta from Spain did not convert that extra point, and the score remains 43-6. Stay with us after the game for the Big East post-game show. Final stats, interviews. Tim Hillard will pick our straight line fence player of the game. With over 30 years of building sanctuary and security, Straight Line Fence provides property owners with the privacy, comfort, and confidence of the perfect fence. That's all after the game. Straight Line Fence player of the game.
I'm expecting nominees, Bob. You got any ideas or favorites? It's going to be hard to pick.
It really is. And remember, this is a fence company, which sort of signifies defense, right? I mean, you got to consider that. And it's been a stout defensive effort all afternoon.
Sure
so
has.
I'll tell you what. We're all doing this for the first time today. I'll let you pick an offensive and a defensive player.
Wow.
How about that? How about that?
How generous of you, Bob. I like it. I like that better, the inaugural game. There have been many standouts on both sides. I'll let the suspense build until I make my decision.
That's right. Penta on for the kickoff. He's got it teed up at the 35. Sends it high and in over end down to the 3-yard line. Grabbed there by Russell Ronan Dixon.
One of the overlooked aspects, Bob, when you're preparing for the first game of the season is special teams. You know, special teams is this often forgot thing. I think being a special teams coordinator is a thankless job because when you do your job, nobody even notices you or knows your name. But when you goof it up and there's penalties, fumbles, missed blocks, turnovers, it's a thankless job. It's a hard position. Calvin's special teams has looked really good today. They've been solid. Other than the missed field goal, which was a great effort by the kicker, Sal Rufino, they've really looked tight and sharp, and I'm impressed. It's a often overlooked facet of the game that's behind in the first game of the season.
New quarterback for Calvin. It's Hayden Slagers into the game. He'll fake that jet sweep and then power his way up the middle for a big gainer of 12 yards. Slagers, the freshman from Ontario Christian in Ontario, California. A lot of excitement about him, as well as Drake Irwin, the other freshman quarterback from nearby Rockford.
You look good there. Yeah, the couple backup quarterbacks have the run-first ability. And, you know, Trent talked about that. Ben Dixon's excited about that. But these guys are mobile, and that's neat to see for the offense.
Little read option. Slagers will give it to Russell Ronan Dixon. Running to his left. Picked up 4 down to the 39. Offensive line. Try to get them set as well. That's a new unit for the most part in there. Isaiah Luck, I do see him at right guard. He's been in and out through the afternoon.
And some new skill guys, too, to get a good look at here.
On 2nd and 6, they go jet sweep to the right with Caleb Dabowski, the freshman from Big Rapids. He turns the corner.
Dabowski really he's a tall, slender kid. I think he ran track in high school, as I understand, and he looked really fast on the edge there. You've also got Jude Klunder in there. Tyler Porte, the Central Michigan transfer, another Grand Rapids Christian kid. Nice to see a second skill unit here making some plays.
Porte, another one of those big tight ends. Slagers, the lefty, will roll to his left on 3rd down and 6. Now he's going to tuck it and go inside the 35. Lowers his shoulder, Tim, and drives his way to the 31.
Really impressive run there. 5'11", 190. He's a smaller kid. He's built a little bit differently than Chase Bradman, but man, lowering the shoulder. I love the effort, the heart, laying it out and getting a first down. It's a nice decision. Nothing's there. Don't force it. You don't need to try to make a big crazy play, make a mistake. Get the first down.
1st and 10 from the 30. Dixon running off right tackle. Big hole. Slashes his way down to the 20 near the first down marker. Call it the 21, just shy.
This is a really nice push to the right side of the offensive line, right behind the right guard. That's 78, Isaiah Luke. Another Grand Rapids Christian kid here on his old home field. Great push, climbing up to the 2nd level, moving linebackers.
Slagers play action. Drops it left side to Porte on a little tight end flare pass. The big fella caught it and rumbles down to the 13-yard line. Porte 6'7". And 265 pounds. That's a load for a tight end.
He's a big kid and got to see him play some high school basketball at Grand Rapids Christian. He's got good feet, good big frame, and he'll continue to develop and grow as he gets in the weight room and increases his agility. But really nice catch there and run after.
Slagers on 1st and 10 gives to Dixon behind the push of that right side. Plows his way for another 4 yards. Impressive drive.
it really is an impressive drive. And, you know, if you're a head coach and you get your twos in, getting them some reps, we talked about this in the outset, you know, in college football, there's a lot less scrimmaging. So obviously Calvin had a scrimmage against Manchester out of Indiana, but it's hard to manufacture game reps, and you can't get all 120 guys on the roster repetition. So this is a critical time to build depth.
Hayden Slagers will keep it, find a crease up the middle and romp into the end zone for another Calvin Knights touchdown.
Really impressed with the athleticism of Hayden Slagers. This is potentially your quarterback of the future, right after Chase graduates. Chase is a one and done. He's a senior, a graduate transfer. And so these game reps are just invaluable to get him ready. And man, you gotta like what you see there. Some good decision making, some really, really nice running. Trent Figg giving him a hug, saying nice job. That's a great drive by the young freshman.
Yeah, that was impressive. He had command of the offense, loved
really
the tempo. And you can see why they are high on Slagers. Ruffino on for another extra point. Talked about the special teams. That's been impressive here today as well from the place kicking perspective. Ruffino drills that one through, and with 3:19 to go, it is Calvin 50. Oberlin 6. Next week, Oberlin hosts Anderson for their home opener. Meanwhile, Calvin travels to Milwaukee, where the Knights will meet Concordia, Wisconsin. We'll have the call. Airtime on Michigan Sports Radio is 1:45 Eastern Time from across the pond. Michigan Sports Radio, your exclusive home next week for Calvin's second game of the year. Also check out Michigan Sports Radio for live coverage of over a dozen high school football games each and every Friday night. Knights will not return here to Grand Rapids Christian until October 5th. Next week it's in Milwaukee. Following week is the outskirts of Indianapolis when Calvin travels to Anderson. And then the MIAA opener on September 28th. Jason Hutton will be alongside. We are in Kalamazoo for that another historic first MIAA game for Calvin before returning home on October.
One of the legendary t-shirts you see on a Calvin campus is Calvin football, undefeated since when? Is it 1876? Thanks for the help back there.
Yeah.
Keep the t-shirts out. They still are. You throw a 1-0 on there. That's pretty cool.
Can't put them away yet.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, those will be worn with pride all week, no doubt. Raymond's kick sails into the end zone, and more possession here for
free kick out of bounds.
Oberlin.
Kicking team. Ball be placed on the 35-yard line.
Went out of
First
bounds,
down, Oberlin.
10-yard penalty.
Other than the missed field goal, really the first special teams miscue of the day, and that's pretty impressive in the first game. Again, special teams can be an overlooked facet of the game, especially in your home opener. I think if you look at your first game of the season, typically your defense is the most ready. Your offense is next, and sometimes special teams gets left behind. So kudos to Trent Figg and his entire staff for being well prepared on the defensive side of the ball. Here they only had 10 guys on the field. A little
charge
substitution
timeout.
there.
Calvin.
Yeah, still with a lot of starters in there though. Tim DeHoop's still in. Jair Nolan's still in, but I tell you, Jair Nolan's played well. We haven't called his name
really
much,
well.
but that's because he's got his guy covered.
He might be a candidate. I'm not going to give you more than that, but he might be a candidate. 98 yards rushing today, just 2 away from a Benjamin on the ground, 100 yards. That's quite an effort for him. And I'll tell you, he and Jackson Cook, boy, they really both played well today. Just a really nice 1-2 punch in the backfield. Very impressive, and excited to see what they do throughout the course of the year.
I don't know how you can talk about this 3-3-5 all game long like you have and not talk about those linebackers as well.
Linebackers
I'm curious to hear who you say there, because there's been a lot of guys in that front six that have been really effective.
Very impressed by the linebacking corps.
C.J. Cooper, the ball carrier, running to his right. Is walloped there by Tyler Dome.
Charlie Garbowski with a great game today. He played in the middle and the outside. Trevor Mertens was a force to be reckoned with, coming downhill. Made a lot of plays between the guards and the A-gaps. Carson Schneerstein, we called his name quite a bit, was in on forcing some turnovers. And then Colin Beekman. I mean, those 4 guys all had a nice game, all very active. You know, you have to have confidence in your scheme, and for Josh Lawson's defense, these kids are clearly bought in and confident in the 3 front. He's doing a lot of slanting and angling. It'll be interesting to see how it holds up throughout the year, but these guards from Oberlin never got up on the linebackers, and it really cost them today.
Cooper takes the handoff from Ben Suler, who is now in the game at quarterback. Happened to meet Ben before the game, and he speaks fluent Russian.
Wow.
One of the impressive young men for Oberlin on that tackle. By the way, for Calvin, a host of nights making the stop. Suler is from Brooklyn, New York.
It's really interesting, you know, the uniqueness of the Division III level. Oberlin has a student base that's truly global and international, as does Calvin, and so it really neat to see stories like that where these kids are not only gifted athletically, but super talented and intelligent in the classroom. I think one of the things that's neat about Division III athletics and unique is in this day and age of the transfer portal, of NIL.
False start, offense, number 52, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
A little bit of the what's
this
in
is
it
also
for me
the 2-minute timeout.
in college sports, which bothers me at times. Division III athletics has remained largely pure. There's really a focus on the student first, then the athlete, and yeah, just neat to hear these stories of these kids that are getting a good education and playing a game they love.
Time to tell you that our Paris Motors drive of the game, and I get to pick this one because I don't think you can have a better drive than the first ever touchdown drive for a university's football program. It happened back in the 2nd quarter. The score was 2-0 at that moment. Calvin had scored a safety to end the 1st quarter, but in the 2nd quarter, they took the ball, marched 55 yards in 10 plays, covering 3 minutes and 41 seconds. Chase Bradman throwing the touchdown pass to Hunter Hogan, the first of 2 times that tandem would connect for TD scores. And that made it 9-0 and sent Calvin on their way. And that's our Paris Motors drive of the game today. And certainly one that will always be etched in the memories of Calvin football fans, to see Hunter Hogan slash into the end zone along that far right sideline for the university's first touchdown. Suler to throw here on 3rd and 12. Rifles it left sideline, incomplete. Good coverage by Noah Funk for that pass intended for Wes Pento.
He missed the mark, but I'll tell you, that was a pretty impressive throw by Ben Suler, rolling to his left as a right-handed quarterback, threw it from the left hash all the way across the field with some velocity. A little inaccurate, but still a very impressive throw. You know, what's different about the college game than the NFL game is it's largely a hash mark-driven game. The hashes are wider in high school and in the college game, and so a throw from the left hash all the way to the field or a throw from the right hash all the way to the field, that's a long throw. Whereas the NFL game is a little bit more in the middle of the field. Really impressive throw by Suler to get it out there.
Colton Daniel on for another punt. He's been a busy guy today. Kicks it deep, and Caden Hyank will let it roll. And that's where Calvin will begin to set up the victory formation. With at the 14-yard line, we'll see our first look at Drake Irwin. It may not be the victory formation. Want to give him a chance to try to move the offense. The 6'3", 205-pound freshman from Rockford, another highly touted recruit that Trent Figg was able to reel in this 2024 class.
He's a big kid, big frame, as you alluded to, Bob, 6'3", 205 pounds, and he's only going to develop and get bigger and stronger from here. He was a part of the plan today if needed in short yardage situations. We know he's a good runner, throws the ball well. Rockford, a powerhouse of a West Michigan high school program, and good to see him out there. You want to develop your guys for the future. You got Chase Bradman for 1 year. It's great to get these guys reps as much as you can throughout their first season. You cannot manufacture experience, especially at the quarterback position.
That is for sure. And, again, you cannot. Trent Figg not really too aggressive in the transfer portal. If you look at the roster, there's not a lot of guys. But he was selective and he was strategic in who he picked. Chase Bradman coming in. We talked about this at the outset, just the value. You've been on both sides. You've been mentored by Peyton Manning, and you've been a mentor to young quarterbacks, Tim, and that's what Chase Bradman has done, provided that mentorship for young quarterbacks.
That's right. I mean, you can only learn so much in the film room. The film room is critical. Being having your nose in the playbook is critical, but you learn by doing at the quarterback position. You learn about timing by being in the game, taking hits, holding the ball too long, learning from it, adapting and growing, and saying, I'm not going to make that same mistake again. And so you just can't manufacture those reps in practice. And this is absolutely invaluable to Trent and the program to get his young guys reps when he has the opportunity. Of course, you're here to win games, but this is great for quarterback development of the future.
There will be one more snap, and that will do it. We'll take a break. And when we come back, Matt Kosinski will be down on the field. He'll grab Trent Figg and get some words with him and perhaps grab a player as well. Last play of the game, Irwin will keep it. Tackled there by Chris Stoneman, and that is the way it ends. Calvin University has won its first ever football game, and they did it in convincing and dominating fashion, beating the Oberlin Yeomen today, 50-6 before this sold-out crowd at Grand Rapids Christian High School. We'll step aside. The Big East post-game show is coming up. Don't go away. We'll hear from Trent Figg, summarize this one, give you all the final stats, and look ahead to next week. You're listening and watching Calvin Knights football on Michigan Sports Radio, WXSP, and 1230 Talk WTKG.
The best part of grad school would be the connections that you make, not only with your cohort, but with the professors as well.
I felt very supported, and I don't feel alone in the program.
I just really feel like each individual in the program gets a relationship with the professors in a different way that's meaningful to them and is more geared to them.
I'm a grad student at Calvin University. Yay! Okay.
Welcome back to Grand Rapids Christian High School for the Big East post-game show. Big East is the spot for your post-game hangout, less than a mile south of Calvin's campus on East Beltline. What a day here at Grand Rapids Christian High School. Calvin University, in its first ever college football game, comes away with a dominating performance. They down Oberlin 50-6. That's right, 50-6. Led 2-0 after one quarter. 26-0 at the break, and just kept pouring it on here, winning this football game. And you see Coach Trent Figg down on the field with his players and just celebrating a day that I'm not sure any of them could have dreamed would be as beautiful as it has been. Matt Kosinski is down on the field. We'll try to get to Matt in just a moment here as soon as Trent breaks away from that mob of happy Knights. And here we go. We're going to go down to Matt. Matt, I think we got you. Get you with Trent Figg. Let's go downstairs. Matt Kosinski is with the victorious coach for the victorious Calvin Knights in their very first football game.
You probably couldn't have scripted this much better, Coach. Talk a little bit about the emotions going through your head right now.
That God would bring the right people here, and at this point, this program would point people to Him. And I can tell you this, we have the right people in our program, man. We are so blessed. We're so blessed to do what we do by this university. And I want to thank Jim Timmer, our athletic director. I want to thank every staff member who's made this possible. I want to thank our assistant coaches, and man, our players that said yes to Calvin University. Golly, I'm so thankful that these guys did this. Man, they didn't have to do this. They took a chance on us. And I'll tell you this, our guys got prepared for this game, and they came out and they executed at a high level.
They came out and were flying to the ball. I mean, it was a baseball score early on, 2-0, but that safety really got the team going. Talk about how important that was to get the offense going.
You know, I challenged our guys starting 3 weeks ago in fall camp. We have to be the most physical team on the field. And I knew once we could get going on offense, we'd be fine. We had some injuries on the offensive line. We knew we had to get these guys settled in. And, man, they stepped up in a huge, huge way. So hats off to the defense, man. Those guys held it strong. The offense got going. We did a great job in the kicking game today as well. I'm so proud of this team. I'm so thankful to be this coach. And I just told our guys, man, this is just the beginning, right? This is one game. This is just the beginning. We're going to celebrate this for about 12 hours, and then we're going to Milwaukee next weekend.
Finally, very few mistakes today. You have a young team. There weren't very many procedure penalties. You guys didn't turn the ball over. What does that show about your team?
So we have a saying on our team, the Knights can't beat the Knights, right? And so we've got to win the turnover battle. We got to win the penalty battle. We have to win the rushing game, the special teams battle. If we do that, we give ourselves a chance to win. So, man, hats off to our players for just answering the call today in a huge, huge way.
All right, great job, Coach. I'll let you go celebrate with the team.
Thanks so much. Go Knights.
All right, Bob, we're going to send it back to you. We're hoping to get a player here as well, maybe Chase Bradman, but we'll send it to you for a moment.
All right, sounds good, Matt. We'll recap this one while you hunt down Chase, and look forward to that interview as well. Tim Hiller, Trent said it all.
Fun day.
I think just the emotion that has to be in his shoulders just being let go now. A big exhale after all the work that's gone into this. And I'm not sure he could have scripted it any better.
You
today.
couldn't. Well, I have my list here. We talked about keys of the game. We talked with Trent this week. I was very impressed with his preparation, his poise coming in. But number one, he talked about physicality. Check that box. Even a young offensive line with injuries, they beat up the Oberlin Yeomen up front. Especially, I'm impressed with the defensive line. They won the battle in the trenches today. Number two, Hunter Hogan. He talked about him being a key. We're going to use him on offense. We're going to use him on defense. He's going to have tackles. He's going to get the ball. Check. He did just that. 2 touchdowns, great catches. Looked good on the jet sweep. And the jet sweep set up the quarterback run game, which was very impressive. And that's exciting to see. And then number 3, he talked a lot about tempo. We're going to play fast. Check that one as well. It's not often as a head coach that everything goes right in your plan. And was it perfect today? No. But a lot of things went really well. And those big 3 being physical, Hunter Hogan making plays around the field, and then the tempo of the offense, they did all 3 really well. It's a great start.
And the guy at the helm of that offense was the graduate transfer from Indiana Wesleyan by way of South Christian High School, Chase Bradman. Just a marvelous debut today. He's downstairs with Matt Kaczynski. Matt?
Thanks, Bob. Chase, could you have scripted a better start to this game? I mean, most of your team are freshmen. What was it like getting out on the field and being the veteran in the room?
Yeah, we couldn't have asked for a better day. It was anything we could have ever asked for. We had a great crowd. I mean, the team came out. We scored, I can't even remember how many, but it was just a great team day.
How important was it for your defense to get things going and putting pressure on to kind of keep you guys right in it until you guys really took off?
Yeah, that was huge. We owe a lot to the defense because the offense started a little slow, but defense held them to 0 for most of the game. Eventually the offense got rolling, but yeah, credit to everyone.
4 touchdowns today, no picks. And I think that's one of the stories of this game is you have a young team. Obviously you're not. You've played a lot of college football, but to not turn the ball over at all and to get 4 on the other side, that's got to be pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I met half these guys 3 or 4 weeks ago, so for us to be able to come together as a team, it's amazing.
Finally, and I probably should have started with this one, first game in Calvin Knight's history. What was it like to look around and see the excitement and the passion from the crowd?
Yeah, it was unreal. Like I said before, I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better day and a great show out by the community.
Awesome. Go celebrate. Thanks again. All right, Bob, we're going to send it back to you.
Thank you, Matt. Congratulations to Chase and that entire team. You look at the stats, Tim, really a balanced offensive attack. 241 yards on the ground for Calvin, 181 through the air. Bradman throws today for 173, 18 out of 31. That was a strong effort by him on the rushing game. I was really impressed by that. I did not see the duo of Jair Harden and Jackson Cook being as effective as they were. They were really good, and you give credit to the offensive line.
Absolutely.
Opened some holes, but boy,
I think
Harden fouled the creases, and he sought the holes, and he reached them quickly.
Perhaps the biggest surprise today was the performance of the offensive line and the backs. I think as a head coach, you tend to under-promise and over-deliver, and Trent said, hey, we have some concerns on the offensive line, and yet today they rose to the occasion. They used tempo to their advantage. The backs looked great. Very impressed by the talent in the offensive backfield for Calvin.
But indeed, the story was the defense. Just to look at the numbers, 9 first downs. Through the air, 15 of 34 for Drew Nye, a game and a valiant effort, and yet a very deficient passing percentage to go 15 through 34. That Calvin defense was good all day long.
It looked really good, and it's, I talked a lot about the scheme throughout the broadcast, but players make schemes, and there was great pressure up front. Isaiah Hill looked good. Ricky Wiggins was in there. KJ Hart before the shoulder was in there. And then the linebacking core. To me, the highlight of the day was the linebacking core. Trevor Martins was everywhere. Charlie Garbowski was everywhere. We called Carson Schneerstein's name a lot. Colin Diekman. These guys were flying downhill because the defensive line did a nice job plugging gaps, stunning and angling. And the Oberlin offensive line just couldn't get to them. And then they were there to make plays. And the physicality was definitely proven. These guys ran to the football, and they delivered the blow when they did run to the football. And that's going to serve them well down the road.
Time now for our Tim Hiller.
Oh, boy.
selection for the players of the game, brought to you by Straight Line Fence. With over 30 years of building sanctuary and security, Straight Line Fence provides property owners with a privacy, comfort, confidence of the perfect fence. I told you I'd give you a break today and let you go with one on offense and one on defense.
I appreciate your generosity. This is going to be hard, but you know what? It's the first game. We got to do two. So without question, gosh, a quarterback commentating, you probably know the direction I'm going to go here. But Chase Bradman, I want to highlight one other thing. You mentioned the 18 of 31, the 173, the 4 touchdowns. That would be enough. 80 yards on the ground. I mean, that is very impressive for, you know, having a quarterback that ran the ball so successfully, both in improvisational situations as well as with that fly sweep action with Hunter Hogan. So very impressed by Chase Bradman. Congrats, Chase, your player of the game on offense. On defense, I struggled with this a little bit, but I'm actually going to go, you know, turnover battle wins the game. I'm going to go with Dylan DeHoop, one of the corners, number 2. He had 3 tackles, but the 2 interceptions were really crucial for setting up Calvin for success. Dylan had a nice game. He was all over the field. He wasn't afraid to stick his nose in there, but the 2 picks, really significant, especially the first one at a pivotal moment. Congrats, Dylan, defensive player of the game. But so many others that freed that up, and would also highlight the Calvin defensive line. Those guys, they're not going to get the glory, but they freed up linebackers to run. They put pressure on Drew Nye, forced him to throw some bad balls, and just a great defensive effort today.
Yeah, you look at Charlie Garbowski and Trevor Martin's 9 and 7 tackles respectively.
Very impressive.
And that is accomplished by the great work of the D-line.
That's right.
No doubt about it. Calvin, again, up 2-0 after the first quarter off a defensive safety, as we said. Exploded for 24 points in the second quarter to take a 26-0 lead at halftime. And from there, just cruised. The offense kept humming. The defense kept knocking Oberlin back and forcing punts. And it was just a complete victory. And meanwhile, the special teams were strong, too. So tremendous, tremendous victory. I want to thank, as we wrap this up, the special day for Calvin University, I want to thank a number of people who just made this so possible. You heard from them down on the field, with Matt Kaczynski talking about Jim Timmer and his great staff and great team. Boy, they were just outstanding today. Trent Figg has just been so delightful to work with as we amped up toward this first game. And Jeff Phoebus, the SID here at Calvin, who just does a tremendous job, so helpful in putting on the broadcast as well. But so many people on the broadcast side, too. We want to thank them for their great work today to bring this to you. The executive producers, Lucas Moore and Adam Tozer, with the just a terrific work all week long and all month long to prepare for this. Nate Porter, our producer, our engineers Carl Hordike and Justin Kendall, outstanding camera crew and sideline folks as well, all made it a wonderful broadcast for us to bring to you. I want to thank Michigan Sports Radio's Brock Conkle for his work on this one, and iHeartMedia as well. Cole Bonilla back at the studio at the dials for AM 1230 Talk WTKG, and also WXSP's Wade Cutler. So many people bringing you this game today, and very helpful. And Tim Hiller, I want to thank you. Great job today.
That was fun. I appreciate the opportunity.
Fantastic work. I want to thank John Zimmerman as well for all his help in the box today, and the sponsors. And most of all, I want to thank the fans. You all watched today, and you experienced a historic day. The 4,000 or 5,000 in attendance today, as well as the fans watching at home. It truly was a special day for Calvin University, and a true delight for us to bring it to you. So that'll wrap it up. From Grand Rapids Christian High School, we'll say so long. See you next week, or talk to you next week from Milwaukee. 1:45 airtime on Michigan Sports Radio. I'll be there for the call as Calvin looks to make it 2-0. How about that? 2-0 against the Concordia University of Wisconsin team next Saturday from Milwaukee. That'll do it. Again, the final score today, Calvin 50, Oberlin 6. So long, everybody. Have a great weekend.